eyes by just going like this.
I'll
These
tell you
two,
what
these
it'd
two
be
would
good for
not
you
know.
for with sex.
What?
If you are, guys, I'm a little tired, and that's because
You're a wanker.
Oh, Logan's a wanker. There was a botched move with the dangerous landing. I'm not even ready. Just hucks a backflip. I'm like, all right.
My sister caught me in a triangle, but she's a purple belt. I would never hit my sister. My sister's not like a woman.
Are you still talking about beating the shit out of your sister?
If Elon and Zuck fight, I pitched it. I will do my UFC debut on the undercard. Give me Patty the Batty.
Mr. Beast hosted a thirst trap.
Grabbing his junk like a
Yes.
gangster. First to take their hand off my junk wins my junk.
So he's asking if you and Jeff wouldn't mind flying to Italy.
It's better than Ibiza.
And just hang out
Ibiza, you're
there,
just
wait
going to
for
do
your
drugs,
baby
and I'll
lover
be
to
honest
hang out
with you.
with
You're
us.
going to
What's the
relapse.
difference?
You're going to relapse.
All right, feeling cheeky? Have a wank then. Go ahead, lad. Go on, lad. Go on, mate. Go ahead, have a wank.
You done?
Are we rolling? Oh, my favorite question. Look, welcome back to Impulsive, the #1 podcast in the world. Guys, I'm a little tired. And that's because
You're a wanker.
Oh, Logan's a wanker. Oh, Logan's a wanker. Look, we're in London. I literally just got done doing Money in the Bank. I'm a little beat up. It's also been the craziest week of my life. We traveled to like 5 countries and launched Prime in Germany, Spain, Denmark, and Norway. And Money in the Bank, ruined my life. I lost. Oh, and I'm a wanker, I guess. Whatever. These fans go so hard in this city. They have no respect for what I do. I'm sacrificing my body out there. I jumped onto Damian Priest onto a ladder, frog splashed him, and bounced off this human like a trampoline. Like I felt his rib cage crush under the weight of my 60-inch box jump. And they started chanting, "You still suck. You still
I
suck."
swear to God, every time one of them started, Jeff joined
Of
in.
course, that's the worst part. My friends love it.
No, there's one guy with me next to me. He's like, "You got to join in. I'm trying to get the Logan chant." I'm like, "Dude, there's no chance. There's a 0%."
I was trying to bring back.
You deserve it. Yeah, that's the other thing. I get hit. KSI even said, he's like, they're getting creative with their chants. Stuff he's never heard before. You deserve it. Logan's a wanker. Fuck you, Logan. And by the way, a wanker, I'm from the States. I just feel like it's the equivalent of like a 3rd grader calling you a wiener. Like, you're a wiener, kid.
Let me
you're
get
a
the
jerk.
real.
You're a jerk.
Yeah.
Let me get the
Is that
real
what it is?
Def. Hold on a sec.
My girlfriend's dad, I met him for the first time, and he came to see what I do at work. And I'm like, "Hey, dude, just, by the way, nice to meet you, but what you're going to see is odd. What you're going to see is odd." Anyways, we got Jeff Witek joining us in London. Mike Malak is back in the building. Manager Jeff is sitting next to Jeff Witek.
Same hat.
Same hat, same name.
Same hat, same name. Team Jeff versus Team Logan. You don't get your name included. Sorry. Like the title of the show.
Give a shit.
Yeah,
What do you do? What do you
I
do
think you
doing
do
over
care.
there? How are the
I think you
fucking-
do care
how are
because
the
you're
fucking-
mad.
How,
But this show's not about you, Logan. Do you get mad when people say that you're a wanker and you're performing out there, risking your body, your blood, sweat, and tears went into it? Literally.
I don't. I think they're having fun. I think they're having fun making fun of me, and that makes me have fun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
You got
It
the
is.
most. You got the most energy. LA Knight got equally.
But in
they
the
love
opposite
him.
direction.
Directions,
Yeah.
right.
They love him.
Energy.
What's his deal? Why is he the hottest thing going?
Because he does this. Yeah.
So why don't you try doing that?
Hey, night. Yeah. We get it.
Yeah,
bro.
Mike.
We get it. Nah, it was nuts. You saw there was a botched move.
Ooh, that was crazy.
There was a botched move with the dangerous landing. I walked away this time relatively unscathed. I got some scrapes and bruises, but no major tweaks or pulls. But Ricochet and I were supposed to do what's called the Spanish fly off the top rope. So one of our legs is on the rope, one of our legs is on the ladder, and we were supposed to hit it at the same time. And when he hit that rope, it was before me, so he moved it. So I slipped down all the way to the bottom. Keep in mind, I'm a noob. I don't really know what I'm doing out there. So when stuff goes wrong, I don't really know how to improv. So in my head, I'm like, how is this guy? This is fucked. We fucked this up. How is this guy going to do this? Is he even going to do this?
Oh, he was.
Our legs are all twisted like this. I'm looking at him. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker's still trying to send this shit. I'm not even ready. His feet aren't even planted off the second rope. Just hucks a backflip. I'm like, all right. Went crashing through the tables, scraped my shoulder, hit my head on the thing. I'm fine. No concussions or anything, but it's just a wild sport, man. I don't know what I'm doing.
I try to put myself in his like mind for a second, and he sees you like dangling your stupid little foot off the rope. Whoa, where's the top rope? And in his mind, he's like this stupid and just
asshole.
grabs you and fucking launches
Yeah, no,
you.
I'm gonna be honest. He blew the fucking match for me. That's why we got into it backstage. I got in a little tussle with him.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, because he was. I don't know, but I felt like it was a little unprofessional.
Kind of looked like you won the backstage match too, to be honest with you.
I know you shit in my bathroom. I know you did.
No, I didn't.
I know you.
I didn't.
This is our suite. I know me and Nina have been staying here for a week, and I know for a fact someone, and it has to be you because
Hold
you're
on,
the most
no,
vile one in this room, walked into my master bath when there's a clearly good guest bathroom out here in this double suite hotel room, and you pooped.
I'm just looking. We got the producer saying that didn't happen, which is the case. I'm looking around my room right now trying to figure out who it might have been. The only person that's not here that we walked in with is David, the German, and he's been eating schnitzel. He's been eating Döner kebab, all the German foods. I think he probably took a deuce in your bathroom.
I don't believe you. I'm sorry.
I didn't do it. I could have every person in here would trust me.
It
Even the
does
people
stink
that
in
work for
here.
you will still take my back on this. Look at even Kevin. What'd you say?
I'm just ready to go to Italy, guys. Thanks for coming to the match, but I'm headed to Italy tomorrow.
Did you get hurt more in this fight than with a boxing fight? Did you get hurt more, honestly? Because you're pretty messed up bad.
I've
from
had
this.
3 fights, dude, and 2 of them were against my now business partner. I don't even know if I'm a real fighter. Is KSI fighting Tommy Fury? Is Tommy Fury fighting Jake?
Is Tommy Fury fighting you?
Is Tommy Fury fighting me? I'll go down to 185, no problem. I don't know what's going on here. But I did have some questions.
About that fight specifically?
No, because I'm curious if Elon Musk and Zuck are fighting, because
Yeah,
that's
that's
what I'm
crazy.
interested in.
Well, it's a weight thing. It's a weight thing.
Yes,
What's the age difference? Elon just turned 52 today.
He's older. He's
Elon
much
turned
older than
52.
Today?
Zuck's like 39, and Zuck like trains as well. He does.
Zuck's an athlete.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
does.
runs under 20 minutes for a 5K. It's fast.
Is it?
Yeah.
I feel like Zuck would win.
Elon does not look in shape.
So Elon's 6'1", 187.
That's big.
That's like
Oh,
Jeff. What's your weight?
I'm 6'1", 165.
Okay, so he's got 20 pounds on Jeff, and then
No way, Elon only has 20 pounds
No,
on
no,
him.
no.
He's built
Elon's
like
torso looks like a Cybertruck.
I still
and I
don't
think
understand
that weight
what's.
could help him.
lay on Zuck.
But
No.
I pitched it.
It also could
I'll
hurt
be
him.
honest. I pitched it internally. I pitched it to the executives that be. If Elon and Zuck fight, I want to do my UFC.
You can't even speak. How are you going to pitch two of the biggest business leaders in the world? You can't even say a
He
sentence.
did it before he got messed up.
Try it with the brownie in your mouth.
If Elon Musk and Eric Zuckerberg fight, I will do my UFC debut on the undercard for free. I'll fight for free for charity.
Who would you fight?
Anyone. You know who I want to fight actually? Because that bitch ass Andrew Tate won't fight me. Give me Patty Pimblett. Give me Patty the Baddie.
I get
'Cause in the
nervous. I get
offseason-
nervous in all these fights.
In the off season, that boy looks like a blimp, and he'll come up to my weight class, and I'll wallop him.
You'll beat Patty Pimblett. Jeff, you're a fight expert. Will Logan beat Patty Pimblett?
Yeah, but he's too small. For
Bro, he's too small when he cuts weight. When he doesn't cut weight, he's a fucking horseshoe.
but he's gonna
Yeah, but
cut
what's
weight
he
if
gonna-
you have a fight.
Yeah, what's he gonna
unless
do,
you're gonna
come
go do it on the
looking like-
street. If we go to Liverpool right now, it's like 2 hours away. You know.
He's not going to show up looking like Peter Griffin. The dude blows up when he's not fighting.
That's
Yeah.
got to be
It's-
unhealthy to go up and down like
It's
that.
he's doing the Fousey tube. He's doing the Fousey tube. He is, dude. Fousey goes Fousey. I don't say it in a best.
Stop.
Bro,
You
it
did
wasn't
not just
supposed to be.
compare Patty Pimblett to Fousey Tube.
No, it's the up and down in weight.
Yes.
It's true. We've seen it. It's why a lot of these fighters, after their careers, they're so used to cutting weight. After their careers, they just eat and eat and eat. Look at me. I just had a match today. I'm eating brownies.
Self-sabotage.
A lot of people are saying that Zuck, who by the way, for reference, 5'7", 155. So I mean a ton of height for Elon and about 30 pounds of weight. People are saying Zuck won't make it through the shit talking phase. That Elon will make him bow out.
I like that.
Zuck just wants to grill, dude. He wants to throw some Meat on the grill and grill.
Are they gonna do a tour like to promote it?
Like press conferences, like show up at the Staples Center
Yeah.
with Shannon Briggs.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. I don't. Also, I gotta say this. I take Zuck. I'm sorry, I take Zuck. Here's the thing. Zuck's got age, the age on his side. He's got the jujitsu training, and you brought it up earlier. I can't. And coming from a lasagna shaped human, someone once described me as being lasagna shaped, and I'm okay with that. I'm
doesn't
completely
make
okay with
sense.
that. They say I've got just a weird shape. Elon's overall structural integrity is I'm unsure of.
It's polygonish.
No, I would say rhombus. I would say he's a rhombus.
I have a rebuttal. The one thing you're not crediting Elon for is the fact that he's South African. Now, I don't know how much you know about South Africa. I can't talk to
Homie,
you. Maybe I hit my head harder than I
Yo,
thought.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it happens.
I don't know how
Slow
much
down,
you know about
slow
South
down.
Africans, but Elon was bullied a lot in school and got in a lot of street fights. Basically, what I'm trying to say is Elon got that dog in him.
Elon also has
because the
this.
South Africans, they and you told me they all, what was it? They all eat ass, right, or something like that. Wasn't there some part of
I
it?
think
Or
that
like
was
they,
I think that was who was that? Oh,
Mr.
that was
or
him.
no,
That
or
was-
Mr. Beast ate
Mr.
ass
Beast
there.
ate,
Or
ate
got
some
his
South
ass
African
eaten.
ass.
I can't remember what it was exactly. Mr. Beast posted a thirst trap. Also, I
Yeah,
just have to throw that out
did.
there. I
Yeah,
know
he
it's
did.
completely
yeah,
off
what did he
topic.
lose 200 pounds?
Bro, he just had his fucking meat out and took a selfie.
Grabbing his junk like a
Yeah,
gangster.
He had his
Dude,
PewDiePie out
dude,
on the screen,
First,
bro.
first to take their hand off my junk wins my junk.
Bro, that was crazy. Dude, and it got like how many? It got like 50
Because people
million.
love progression. They love health. They love weight loss. He's achieving his goals. I mean,
I think it's deeper than
If he
that.
does it again, if he does like 2 back to back,
a carousel
yeah.
with his ass.
no, like a
and
new
shit.
post. If he does like another
Yeah.
one again, like now he's at the beach or something. You
Yeah.
know?
How many people watch that fight?
Back to Zuck and Elon.
Yeah, Elon.
with the right promotion, could be 50, 60 million.
What a letdown
there's more.
it would be though.
Shut up.
I think there's more.
Yo,
I was
but
being sarcastic.
I think the world watches it.
7, 8 billion?
I think it. I
Bro,
don't know
how
that
many
they
did you
charge.
say?
I don't know that they charge.
I said 50, 60 million. Oh, if they do it for
I don't
free?
think they charge. And
yeah,
I
they're
think,
billionaires, right?
I think the world is watching this
Uh-huh.
fight.
What
Yeah,
platform does it stream on?
It probably goes. It probably goes to ESPN.
No, but they're gonna need to stack the undercard. That's why I'm throwing my hat in, because I'll be honest with you, no offense to these boys, it's gonna be pathetic. The fight will be pathetic,
Yeah.
but highly entertaining. But come on,
can I
Come on.
can I say this really quick?
Zuck has won some.
He
medals,
has
supposedly.
jujitsu. He's
Jiu-jitsu.
a belt and everything. Can I
Wait,
say this?
Make someone punch who doesn't know how to punch and see how they look. Watch my first fight. Anyways,
I got Elon.
He
I'm going Elon.
I don't want to go against Zuck because he'll fucking take my blue check away on Instagram. If
Not
we
afraid
get
of
caught talking shit here, I already lost my Twitter one. Fucking fuck Elon.
you don't want
you
to pay
know?
that $8, huh?
And that's lame. I'd rather not.
I agree.
talking about?
I
What are you
do.
talking about?
I just got it.
You pay
recently.
for
I
it?
just got it recently. Cause, bro, I mean,
It's not about the blue check, Jeff. It's about
extending
the-
your reach.
Integrity.
the length of the
Oh.
tweets and the length of your videos that you can post.
I haven't tweeted since, so whatever.
You don't
It is
really
what it
tweet.
is.
Not a big tweeter, huh?
No. I guess, I guess Elon. I go Elon. Whatever.
You just switched like that.
I
Like,
don't
just for no
care. I don't
reason?
care. It's gonna be a stupid fight. I think it's a big publicity stunt, to be honest. You know,
This fight
I mean, everything is.
is not
happening.
Nah,
no.
It's
see?
not gonna fucking happen.
I've
I'm
heard
sorry,
from.
dude.
I've heard from
heard the
serious
opposite.
sources.
I've heard the opposite.
Serious.
I once heard Bob Barker was coming back to Price is Right. Okay, and guess what? He's fucking dead.
I'd like
Okay,
to
so
send
that's
them
not
both
happening.
Price is wrong, Bob.
Bob.
I
bitch.
like to send them both down in a submarine. You know.
Okay, well that's
That would be nice.
okay. So there was your first time crossing the line on the
What
show.
are we
Jeff.
not allowed to do any
No, we
summer
don't
memes?
do death jokes here, man.
Summer memes.
No summer memes allowed.
Summer memes.
What we can't talk about?
Jeff, what did I talk to you about?
It's
bro?
on the sheet. You sent me a
You're
sheet. There's a
you're
sheet that I get now. I'm that. You said submarines. We're gonna talk about the sub. You know? Should we just dive into it?
Oh
Or
my
should-
god, bro! Oh my god, bro! Please stop! Please stop! I'm not being a fucking party to this. Just fucking stop.
Bro, you know what?
Stop.
It's his light. I feel like I'm being fucking interrogated.
Yeah, it's hot in here. The lights are just so
Definitely
bright.
hot.
Just stop, okay?
I'm Team Zuck. Let's go back.
Yeah, we should. We should.
Hey, you might want to go to the next WWE event. Well, good news, SeatGeek is going to hook you up. They're today's sponsor. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events every single day on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. WWE events have been cracking lately. Don't miss the action. They put all the tickets across the web in one place to make sure you're getting a good deal. Each ticket is graded to make sure you get a good deal. Look for the green dots. Green means good. Red means bad. Every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And SeatGeek is the only site that lets you return your tickets ahead of the event with swaps. You know I came through for you guys. Use my code Logan for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. That is $20 off your first purchase with promo code Logan. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app. Shout out SeatGeek. Back to the show.
Yeah, I should have never fucking came here. You know?
No, because then how would we have gotten this?
Yeah.
I wasn't going to do this
coulda did it in
podcast
Italy.
if you didn't show up.
For real? Because I felt that too. I was like, Logan, don't even care. Logan, you are just like, you know who.
Well, we wanted
know?
to. Yeah, he thought you were going to end up on a yacht, which you almost did. And I want to say this: there's been some general worry from the group lately.
Yeah,
I'm
about
just
what?
going to go ahead and say it. I'm going to go ahead and
Wait,
say it.
About
what
what,
group?
Jeff?
What group?
No,
What
just
what
shut
group
your,
are you talking
shut
about?
your yap.
What
I'm
group?
going to say this. You're going to let me through.
Just say I'm concerned.
No, it's
Logan.
not. It has nothing to do with me. I didn't say shit.
Who did?
I'll say this.
Who did?
Are you going to let me finish?
No,
Or
I
are you
wanna
gonna
know
keep-
who
Are you going to
else.
sound like an
Who
owl?
are you talking about?
Who else?
Who did? Who did? Let me say this.
What group? What group?
Oh, bro, are you going to stop? We had this podcast planned for a long time. Jeff, my dear Jeff, my blessed friend Jeff. Look at him. He looks like Ice Cube right now, or Easy.
I had to take a fucking Carnival cruise ship out
on
here.
his own dime.
Took me.
Came out here.
We paid for his trip.
No, he didn't. Not on this one. Came out here and was expecting to sit here and do a nice podcast with his friends. I got a call last night.
My last podcast was why I left Impulsive. I already did it. I already put the thumbnail out there. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking
He
about.
said he was going to do it. I respect it.
I had a rough month though. I lost that
I'm never gonna
podcast
through the
episode. We
story.
did a nice episode and then it disappeared, vanished from me. You know, so I quit. I quit everything on the internet. And then I was like, I can't go back to selling drugs because I already talked about it on the internet. So now I'm fucked. I have to
Yeah,
do
they're
this.
on
Put the
you.
cameras in my face. I'm a fucking puppet.
Are you done? Are you fucking done?
I'm heartbroken. My friends are big time in me. Is that what you were getting at?
Thank you. That's what I'm trying to get to. Okay. Or will you shut up for a second? I got a call last night. No, actually, it wasn't a call. It was a text message. And by the way, not from Logan, from Logan's executive assistant. Hey, Mike. Logan is dead set on being in Italy on the lake with his girlfriend early Sunday morning. So he's asking if for the boys only episode, you and Jeff wouldn't mind flying to Italy to shoot the boys only episode so that he can wake up on the lake with his girlfriend. Flying to another country.
On a fucking private jet to Lake Como.
So
God, strike me down for inviting my boys on a plane to the most beautiful place in the world with endless pasta and vino. Mike is just mad there's no hookers
nope,
there.
there's plenty of hookers in Lake Como. More than other places, to be completely honest with you. I said to said executive assistant, what's the plan for when the podcast ends? He said, well, I don't think we made it that far.
Go to
So we
Bellagio.
would've
Go
just
play
ended up
backgammon.
lost
You're going
in
to
fucking Lake Como.
Ibiza. You
What
are
am I
going
gonna
to
do? Buy a
Ibiza.
fishing rod?
That is not
Catch
better
a
than Lake
fucking sea
Como, bro.
bass?
You could
Maybe
use
a
the
fucking
water,
Chilean bass?
purifying
I'll
your
just
skin
sit
of all
there.
the
Oh,
sins
maybe I'll
that you
have
go
some
through
fucking
every single
forage
day,
or a
bro.
piece of
It's better
cheese
than
and
Ibiza.
just hang out
Ibiza, you're
there,
just
wait
going to
for
do
you. Maybe
drugs, and I'll be
we'll
honest
hang
with
out
you.
with us.
I'm
You're
going
not
to
gonna
say
hang
it.
out. You're
I'm
gonna
going
cuddle
to
with your
say it.
girlfriend.
You're
What
going to
is it, Nicholas?
relapse.
Banana.
You're going to relapse.
Oh, yeah. Damn. You are out there. You already got those cigars you're going to smoke out there. That's a gateway to vaping. You start vaping, and then you know what comes next. Heroin. You should come with me to the Jersey Shore.
That sounds like fucking hell on earth.
It's a family vacation.
I would
I'm going on
rather
a family
go
vacation.
to Iowa, and I'm not so sure that state even exists, than go to the Jersey Shore.
Hey,
with
take it
you.
easy. I'm from the Jersey Shore.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, case in point, buddy.
Take it easy.
Let me say this.
And
Team
we're
Jeffs.
going to Ibiza together. So what? You're gonna like just back out?
You're going?
What Ibiza?
Keep him away from the absinthe.
Oh yeah.
They have absinthe in Ibiza?
Likely.
Okay.
Depends who you hang out with, and if there are any.
With
one
Mike,
that
we'll be doing
knows,
hard drugs.
You will
not
find
absinthe.
out
Who?
everything they have.
As a matter of fact, all these relapse jokes are funny, especially you preying on my downfall. As I just celebrated 13 years.
Oh, congrats! Congrats! Congrats!
I'll have you know,
What day? Is there a day?
June 23rd.
You should be really proud, Mike.
That's
That's
great.
Thank you,
actually
brother. I
awesome.
appreciate
and
that.
it wasn't a joke. No, I'm seriously concerned. I don't want you to relapse, and that's why I invited you to the most pure, beautiful, innocent place in the world. Like
Rehab.
On a job. It's a rehab center.
I would love to go to rehab, just like a nice fucking chill rehab, no phone. That's what I wanted to do. I actually presented you that,
Mike's
that
been
idea
talking about that.
last
recently.
month.
Going
When
It-
everything
it-
happened.
not even a rehab, but just like a what's it called? Like a wellness retreat? Is
Oh,
that what you would
yeah,
call
have
it?
'em.
Yeah.
Like an Arizona wellness
Where you
retreat?
literally check your phone and at the
I
door.
want to go to like a celebrity one, like Lindsay Lohan. Like, you ever see those commercials?
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Well, Pete Davidson just is checked into one right now. He just evidently he like periodically goes in and just like handles his shit. You know.
It's dope.
If
I
you
went
handle this shit,
skydiving
you
when
wouldn't go back.
I was either gonna relapse or go skydiving, because a near death is always nice to really appreciate your life
And
and
you-
make your problems feel like nothing.
And you had a near death.
Yeah, I had
Right?
I had line twists like you had at the same spot, same exact.
Same location. Yeah, Paris.
I don't know if it was the pack job there, the crackheads packing. No,
Crack.
they're nice guys. They're nice guys there, but
The crack packers.
so you have to trust a random stranger to pack your parachute.
Yeah.
That your life is in their hands.
And by the way, you pay them $20.
$20.
$20.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
$20.
Oh, what do you just like tip him?
Yeah, it's
yeah,
basically
you pay
like
'em,
20
yeah.
to pack.
They go there, they pack parachutes all day, and you have to trust that they've done a good job because again they're doing it all day.
All
It-
day
it's just
long.
a redundant job. It's hard. They have like tape on their fingers. You look at their fingers; they're all like bloody and charred.
They don't care how many followers you got.
Nah. But you had a really bad
I fought the
twist.
line twist because I remembered your YouTube video, and everybody was like, "No, he didn't have to cut away. He was an idiot." So I was like, I'm not
Fucking
cutting this.
idiots!
I'm
What?
fighting?
Wait,
this
who
shit."
said that?
I mean, I don't remember. Multiple people.
Yo,
at-
these
at
fucking
parachute.
skydiving fools. 10 seconds. 10 seconds of not opening. And sure, I could do what happened to you and wait 50 to 60 seconds to be intertwined and then be over an interstate at
Yeah,
1,500
yeah,
feet like
yeah,
you
1,500
were.
feet. I
You
was
got fucked up, bro.
insane.
bad, bro. Yeah, I
That's
had
not.
giant
It's not funny. It's
hematoma.
not cool. Obviously, I didn't need to cut away, but obviously, I'm also okay because of it. You weren't.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I should have cut away. I should have, but also you got to pay like $2,000 for the canopy if it like.
What?
Yeah, you had to pay for your canopy. No,
I didn't.
No, you don't.
it was probably on your credit card. They probably don't check your
Sons of
statements.
bitches. Sons of bitches.
What if you open the backup?
I don't know. I don't know
bullshit.
why I
No
was
way.
thinking that in fight or flight, my life or death. I'm like, I would have saved that fucking 2 G's, you know? And I'm like trying to get out of it. And then finally it opened up and I was like, oh, thank God. But then I looked down and I'm right on top of the freeway. And I'm like, all right, let me try to fly back in. And I had a rough landing. I had a giant hematoma on my ass.
You got fucked up.
I was draining it. I was stabbing it with a needle and sucking all the
Oh.
juices out. Yeah, I took
Oh.
out like a half a prime out of my leg.
Oh my God. Gnarly.
Yeah,
Gnarly.
but it felt so good.
Jesus, Hematomas are nasty.
Yeah, I went to the
Especially on the side
doctor.
of the leg.
That's
Mhm. You're probably gonna have one. Are you back?
I'll be all right. All right, just
I'll
just a
come
little-
through and drain it. I'm a doctor now.
Just a little.
He said his
bruise.
elbow's drained.
I got because I got bursitis in my elbow. I got some stuff drained. The elbows were a little drained.
I just
But-
got a message from Alex Smith.
Our accountant.
He's acting as attorney here. He asked me if I want to get an attorney for this AI scam that I suffered, for the damages from this AI scam.
I thought
that
we sent it to an
suffered.
attorney. He wants another one?
Those attorneys are not capable of handling artificial intelligence.
Why don't you
unfortunately.
hire AI lawyers?
That's really smart. Yes, Your Honor. Will be represented today by ChatGPT. Hello, Your Honor. I will be representing Mike. So, do you guys know what happened? Like the long and short of it?
Yeah. A hair company used an ad that you really made, and then using clips of your voice on this exact podcast, which are perfect dialogue, and you probably said every word in the dictionary, clipped together the rest of the ad over B-roll saying that the hair company was good. It's highly illegal and fucked up.
Crazy, right? so they basically made it seem like I also wouldn't have gone and gotten the hair transplant surgery because I would just use this hair fiber that they're trying to promote. And like you just said, they used my voice to promote it. And I thought I would see this ad one time and then it would just go away. But this thing's running on a fucking loop, bro.
Which means it's working.
On TikTok. Oh yeah, they're
If they're
making
running,
money.
it's working.
No, they're making money on Instagram. I see it on TikTok. Like there's a whole page, and I just comment on everyone. This is a scam. Don't buy it.
I can't believe it's really funny to me that you were the first one to get hit with this. Like it's really on brand for you.
Yours, you had one.
Not like this.
No,
not using my voice.
No, it was a picture of you for like dick pills. Remember, it was the WWE.
Yeah, I do remember
the
that.
WWE got it taken down.
Yeah, they're savage.
Too bad you're not.
I'm
in
the
WWE
first.
mode.
I'm the first. I would say like YouTuber, but they've already done. No, actually, no, that's not true.
You just want to be
Because they do it with Beast as well. Like, hey guys, I'm doing a gift card giveaway this week. Like, sign up. Send me your email and your credit card information. And they do it with Joe Rogan as well. I was a victim of AI.
Have you looked at the website to see if they're in the country or anything like that?
They're not in the country.
You're fucked.
They're probably in. My guess would be Malta. Like, if I could take any guess, it would be Malta. Because I feel like that's where a lot of the scamming comes from.
Malta.
Is Malta a country?
It's an island.
Yeah. Do they do a lot of scamming there in Malta?
A lot of offshore banking.
In other news, Lionel Messi, this contract is fucking insane.
What are the details of that? Because I heard he's gonna be wealthy like forever, and all his kids and kin in the history of his offspring.
Well, I feel like that's already going to be the case, and so much so that he took a deal valued between 125 and 150 million for 2.5 years with an option in 2026. But it's more so what he turned down. Evidently, there was an offer from Saudi for $1.6 billion for 3 years.
Yeah.
But he'll make more on this deal than that one.
There's equity. There's equity. He gets equity in
Adidas. He gets
I thought it was like the sale
of. He gets every jersey.
No, I understand there's profit sharing.
All of the
but he
MLS.
also gets equity in the team. He gets equity in Miami Football Club.
Correct, which will be worth billions.
So was it like a morally right thing that he did to stay?
No, I think my guess would be he's thinking long term and he wants to do whatever's going to be worth the most in the
Okay, because he would get a clean check for $1.5 billion.
$6 billion.
And he went with 150 mil, so 10%.
It's not 150 mil. That's just what he gets for playing on the field.
Yeah.
There's incentives for jerseys. There's incentive for.
Okay, well that's better.
all of
That's
Adidas.
a better deal.
Like he took a crazy deal with Adidas too.
You ever see the Jordan documentary?
That's similar. He's getting a piece of everything that's sold in Adidas.
Jordan's mom, she was like, "No, I want equity in the
Respect.
shoe. I want to make money
Respect.
on every shoe." And it was just a tiny bit, but now Jordan makes like $300 million
No,
a
now
year.
every athlete now uses the same contract that his mom created the industry.
Yeah, that's more your field.
His mom created the industry of incentivizing the players to get residuals.
That's insane. My mom's just a nurse.
Everybody else was like, give me a
Don't talk
check.
about payment like
And not
that.
even anymore.
Magic Johnson,
She
give me a
just played-
check.
she just
Kareem
plays
Abdul-Jabbar,
tennis.
give me a check.
She hasn't
All the
negotiated a
guys.
single contract. Not even anymore.
Magic Johnson,
She
give me a
just played-
check.
she just
Kareem
plays
Abdul-Jabbar.
tennis.
Everybody else was like, give me a
Don't talk
check.
about payment like
And not
that.
even anymore.
Magic Johnson.
Your field.
His mom created the industry of incentivizing the players to get residuals.
That's insane. My mom's just a nurse.
Everybody else was like, give me a
Don't talk
check.
about payment like
And not
that.
even anymore.
Magic Johnson,
She
give me a
just played-
check.
she just
Kareem
plays tennis.
Abdul-Jabbar,
Yeah.
give me a check.
She hasn't
All the
negotiated a
guys.
single contract for me.
She was
Anything
gangster.
like
She
that.
was in those calls like, "Nope, we're good. We're good."
So
I love my mom, obviously.
She
but I'm
texted
just
me
saying-
right after.
She said, yeah, she wanted to know if I was okay. But
Yep.
Mom, if you could negotiate some sort of contract that would give me multi-billions, I'd appreciate it.
She
one
made a
of the
contract with his
greatest
dad.
one of the greatest football players of all time, soccer football players of all time, got a deal for $125 million for 2 years.
And every other
$125
basketball player in the first 2 minutes of the open contract season did $1 billion. They did $1 billion in the first 5 minutes in the NBA.
Sorry, what did you just say?
The NBA opened up the ability to contract with their players after a certain date in the year. They did $1 billion in the first 5 minutes.
For one player?
No, for all the players that were contracted, $1 billion.
Okay, how many players were contracted?
Each one of them 100 million, 50 million, 200 million.
It sounds like you're just throwing numbers out.
No, I looked at it online.
Well, because I was going somewhere with this.
Let's hear it.
2 years for $125 million.
Yep.
Eerily similar to 2 years for $100 million, which is what Twitch star XQC just got.
Is that real?
Yes.
Is that real?
Yes. It's really real.
Mm.
Which is what Twitch star XQC just got. Years for $125 million.
Yep.
Eerily similar to 2 years for $100 million, which is what Twitch star XQC just got.
Is that real?
Yes.
Is that real?
Yes. It's really real.
I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I don't. I'm a hater. I don't believe it.
Felix Lengyel.
It's too much money.
Felix Lengyel, better known as Twitch streamer XQC, announced that he will be joining
Don't say it, but we
Bleep,
know.
a rival streaming platform, in a 2-year deal. The contract is reportedly worth around $70 million, with incentives potentially raising the total to 100.
Okay, so I'm right. A.
You
I'll
are,
also scratch half that from taxes. B.
well, hold on a second.
Wha-
Can't
wha-
say that.
Why?
That's because
Why?
then the same could be said about Messi's deal. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like, we're not going to
Nope.
tack.
Depends.
What do you mean?
Depends where he is.
He's in Miami.
Well,
Well,
not
doesn't he
half
pay more?
because he doesn't have state tax in Miami.
41%. Whatever.
So
39%.
then. Sorry. Ooh, no reflex.
Don't get those near a mic. Painkiller. Sorry.
This is just ibuprofen. Nah, it's just it's insane because what is the ROI on that, and what does the completion of that look like? There was a time where I remember Ninja got paid $100 million to do something on some platform.
He got the money, though.
Did he?
What do you mean? Yeah, he got.
Did
Ninja
he?
got paid.
I guarantee he did.
No, he did, but he also didn't get $100 million. His wasn't worth $100 million, and also it wasn't backed by also didn't get $100 million. His wasn't worth $100 million, and also it wasn't backed by the money though.
Did he?
What do you mean? Yeah, he got.
Did
Ninja
he?
got paid.
I guarantee he did.
No, he did, but he also didn't get $100 million. His wasn't worth $100 million, and also it wasn't backed by a company that has unlimited financial resources. You know what I'm saying?
I see, because they're with that gambling company.
Correct.
That makes all that money.
Correct.
And they're making a run competitive. All right, so what's up? This unnamed platform. You want the number one podcast in the world? Hit up manager Jeff, and we could bring our booming audience over to y'all.
I think he's already talking
For 50 billion, we'll take it.
What's your number to leave social media to be done?
Permanently?
Yeah.
I'm a slut. I'm a social media slut. I
Nothing?
just can't. I love it. It's like, bro, you put me in a room with an iPhone, in an hour I'll be making a video.
Do you still love content?
I love it.
Do you love, but not as much as KSI?
I don't think even KSI loves it as much as I do.
Really? Because if you put a camera on KSI, he just goes crazy.
No.
You mean like
he
I think
is
you
a
like
he is
doing
a
your-
magnetizing, captivating performer, entertainer. Put
yeah.
anything on him, you're glued to what he's saying.
Yeah.
I like making stuff.
Yeah, okay.
And that, by the way, that's the dynamic in
Yeah.
Prime. You know, he is a
I
content
watched
creator
it.
as
I
well.
watched it this week.
But I'm
Logan's coming up with ideas. Says let's do this. KSI literally put the camera on him,
activates.
laughing, screaming.
It's a
facial
perfect dynamic.
expressions.
He's so good, and I like making it. And one of the other brains in our little group of people making this company worth something is also pretty creative. So altogether, we fill each other out really well. But yeah, no, I love content, but I'll go to this platform, sure, for the right amount of money.
Mike, what if you were offered a deal to podcast? You get, say, double the money to live in Saudi Arabia.
No.
Well-
Malta.
Malta. Or you get to continue living in LA for half the money. Do you stay in LA?
What's the question that you're asking me right now?
Would you go move for double the money and you have to do the podcast
Double what money?
that you make? Or say,
He wouldn't because I invited him to move to Puerto Rico with me. And he
For
did not-
unlimited money.
and he did not.
Oh,
come.
yeah.
He literally said, and I quote, blank check. He goes, blank check.
No, I didn't say that,
No
but I
way.
did say there was a lazy river, which to him is basically the same thing.
Yeah.
And that still wasn't enough. You know why? There's no hooly doolies in Puerto Rico.
No, yeah, there is.
Well, you got to find them, and you only go there on Saturdays, otherwise you're degen.
So you say you love content, but do you love content enough to fake your own death and then show up at your funeral to teach your family a life lesson?
You know, when I was 22, I can't say that's something I wouldn't do. Now, I'm just kind of staying away from death. Inshallah.
Belgian TikToker David Baerten, also known as Ragnar LeFou, faked his own death and appeared at his own funeral to impart a life lesson about the importance of maintaining family ties. He'd become saddened by how his family had drifted apart and felt unappreciated. This prompted his decision to teach his family not to wait until someone's death to reconnect with them. Is there someone for each of you that you have not told recently that you love them? And if so, I'd like
For
each
sure,
of you-
yeah,
I'd like you to take a second right now to tell that person straight down the pipe.
One of these guys?
It's straight. No. Just go straight down the pipe and tell someone that you haven't spoken to recently that you care about.
No, I don't want to do that. I'll wait.
Why?
I don't know, because I don't know.
Mike,
Fucking idiot.
Mike, I love you. I haven't told you in a long time.
Which Mike?
Wouldn't you rather just tell me? I'm sitting in front of you.
you
Why are you
said
telling
look
the
straight down the
camera?
pipe.
What are you gonna? So
You
when I
just
watch
said
the
it.
episode, because
You just said go straight on the pipe.
Jeff.
I haven't told you I love you in a long time. You're not even gonna take I love you. God can't even.
because
take I
you
love
didn't say it to me, you said it to an animatic job.
There's no other mic in the room.
Yeah, but
You're in front of him.
do you see what just happened with such a wonderful prompt that I gave you? I know my friend Logan could nail this. Go ahead, right down the pipe.
I'm pretty vocal about
Same.
my love for people.
Same.
We said I love you not 3 hours ago before my
Love you,
match.
bro.
Yeah, I say it all
I'm
the
sure there's
time.
got to be someone you haven't
Gay.
talked to. recently.
Why don't you give it a shot?
No, you know what? I don't say I love you to my dad. That's because that's like, you know,
What?
my mom all the time, every phone call.
You don't say that to
But-
your dad? I love
No,
you.
we got a weird relationship, you know?
Oh.
Just like, you
Not
know,
a
you
lot
don't
of-
have to
not
go
a lot
and
of-
say that stuff.
But
You know
do
what I'm talking about,
but
right?
but do you love him? No, he doesn't. He says
I was there.
You would get struck.
No.
no, I'm fucking around.
Did your
Yeah.
parents ever hug you?
Yeah, no, I had a good childhood.
Well, say.
But
I
do you love?
Pop.
Do you love your dad?
Yeah, cut all this out. Edit all this out. This is weird.
There's a lot of pain.
So go back to the girl. Let's talk about that. I'd rather talk
No,
about
go ahead.
that.
Say it down the pipe too, Dad, right now.
Bro, this.
I say it.
Did your dad beat you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Beatings.
My dad.
Tech. Jeff loves you very much.
My dad would do like staged beatings to embarrass me because the embarrassment would be worse than the actual beating.
Like a stage fake death.
Yeah, well,
I like
no. It was
Yeah.
more like WWE. It was
It's
like,
WWE
like he would
beatings.
come out and whip me with something that's not like hard. Like it was like a dog leash one time.
Oh yeah.
That's hard.
So I was in front of all my friends in the neighborhood, and I'm like, you know, I got a good reputation over there, my neighbor back in Staten Island. So my dad comes out. He's like, "Your mother wanted you home," and fucking starts whipping me with this
for no
leash.
reason.
But it didn't even hurt. But then all my friends were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's child abuse. We're gonna call the cops on him." So that it backfired.
Uh,
They didn't. It wasn't even. There were no marks. You know.
I have a story kind
They
of like
called-
that.
They called child abuse.
They just said that they were gonna, and then my dad's plan backfired. You
That's-
know?
no,
what,
that's the
Dad? I love
best.
you, Dad. That
There it
was
is.
cool. I'm gonna do that.
There it is.
I'm gonna pass that along.
When your dad makes drastic decisions and then they backfire in his face. My dad once locked us out of the house from some, I don't know, we were being hooligans or whatever, and he locked us out of the house all day. And he would do this sometimes from time to time. You know, go play in the woods, your kids, go be imaginative, have fun. It's maybe why I'm creative. It ended up paying off. But this particular time, we wanted to come inside. It was like cold. It was rainy. Dad, can we come in? Do not knock on the door. Don't touch the door. You're not coming inside. Okay, all right, Dad. It starts raining. His car windows are open. Dad, I gotta tell you something. Please, can we come inside? I told you don't touch the door. Stay away from the door. Whatever. All right.
What's he doing in there?
It doesn't matter. He didn't want us in the house.
Or
But it's
was he doing
pouring
something?
rain, and his windows of his car are down. And I knew that, and it's fucking up his interior. Sure enough, the next day, goes to roll up the windows. They're all fucked. The car's
Soaked.
fucked. He goes, "Why didn't you tell me that it was raining and my windows were down?" I said, "Dad, what do you think I was trying to tell you?" And then he got mad at me because his plan backfired, and he got more angry at me for his mistake.
Fuck.
And that's Greg Paul. But Greg, I love you, Papa. I love you,
Nice.
Papa, despite the fact that sometimes you'll get angry at me for your mistakes.
Yeah.
See,
And
yeah,
Dad,
that
you know what?
happened.
Did you always
Which
call
one's my
Pop
camera?
Pop?
That one.
Yeah, go to go
Started
down.
today. Feeling good.
No,
about
you
it.
could go right there.
Dad, you know I love you. Thank you for raising me the way you did. I wouldn't change a thing. You know.
It's pretty good. What about you, Mikey?
Me and my older sister have got an ongoing quarrel.
No sibling stuff
Shut
here.
your fucking
You gotta go.
stupid Staten Island mouth before I murder you on television. I'm getting into
Do
something
it. Try
serious
it. Try
right
it. I
now.
dare you.
Jeffrey,
Try it.
Jeffrey.
I kick that ankle. You're
Jeffrey,
done.
Jeffrey.
Say-
Do we
tell
have
you-
to-
talk-
do we have
talk-
to- do we have to get you your no pills again? Stop it. Stop it.
My what?
Stop it. Hey,
Go tell your story. Whatever.
I left some clothing in the back of your car when I borrowed it a couple weeks ago. And you said that I'm not making enough of an impact with my platform. That upset me. We got into a little tiff. But I do love you very much, Jillian. And the next time I come there, I'll put a whole tank of gas in the car.
That's good. That's really nice.
It's only you left, buddy.
What do I gotta do?
Look down that camera and tell somebody.
I did.
No, it's the wrong camera, and you were talking to me like an idiot. just check the last box, bro. It's right there.
Last box. This one?
Yeah.
I'll say it to my dad. I love you, Dad. Appreciate everything you've done for me. I say it all the time. I really do. Just like Logan, I say it all the time.
I am vocal about my
The
love.
people that I love, I say it to them.
Oh, you know what? I feel left out now, Dad. If you're watching this, I do love you as well.
I feel like I feel like I did a terrible job here. I framed my dad as a child abuser, and he was not.
No, it was just a dog leash.
It was it was like a fake thing that he was doing. It was an idea he had. It didn't work out great, but no, I had a great childhood. He took me fishing. He did so much. He was a great father,
Of course.
and I learned a lot. He's a
Bro, you already
hardworking
painted
guy.
the picture of your dad. You're not going to be able to reverse
No, I
it
made
now.
him sound like
According
such
to
a
what you told us
psychopath.
before, he's a fucking violent criminal. he's going
And
to
you have
jail
trauma.
half your life.
You have
No. I do have trauma, but it's not from that. I had a good childhood.
What do you
I
have trauma
tortured them. I tortured them, if anything.
Did you abuse cats, neighborhood cats
Bro,
as a kid?
no,
I
no,
feel like
animals. I never abused animals. No.
people.
I got the shit beat out of me in prison. Yeah. I'm kidding. Look, I said so many bad things on this podcast. See, that's why I don't like this shit. 'Cause I get an edit.
This is your last show. 100%. There's no chance you're
I'm done, bro. I'm done. I'm
It's a
out
wrap,
of here.
dude. You insulted
I'm not even
everyone.
white. I'm not even white. I'm Italian.
Italian.
Don't,
I knew that was coming.
bro. Come on. That's.
I'm going to the Jersey Shore.
Yes.
I need a hiatus from social media.
Jenkinson's. You'll be
You're gonna after this
Jenkins.
episode, bro.
Jenkinson, what's the other
Oh,
one?
speaking of which, Spencer, if you're out there, I don't know if you're in Ukraine or wherever you are, but we would like to have you back.
Spencer, the
Potentially.
third guy. Yeah, I watched all these videos because they're all getting sent to me. The third guy's cursed. He's gonna I'm gonna kill myself or something because of this. And then I almost died from skydiving one episode in.
These Apple goggles.
Apple goggles.
Has anybody tried them?
$3,500 for Apple Vision Pro, a augmented reality headset, which resembles ski goggles, is capable of blending the digital and the real world.
Surprised Logan hasn't had them yet.
What?
You're always first to get the technology.
But I don't think they're out yet.
They're out.
No, I don't think they're-
$3,500.
They're very expensive. That seemed to be a sticking point.
Wait, so they are out or they're not? They're not out.
They're not
yet.
out. They're
No,
definitely not out
definitely
yet.
not out.
No, it's the future of like it's
The future
definitely
of what?
It's the first of its kind in like tech that is really, really future forward. Like, dude, the fact that you can look at the app you want to use and do this motion with your fingers as a click, and then watch like a movie as if you're in a theater inside these goggles and do anything. Like, when that's paired up with Neuralink, I don't know. We're going crazy.
Am I the only one who-
augmented reality?
Am I the only
Yeah.
one who immediately? I'm not the only one. You guys will say I am, but am I the only one who immediately thinks of like how this is going to change sex? Like immediately.
What's the
bro.
movie?
Like
What's the
imagine
movie?
if
What's the
Jeff.
movie?
Do you hear what he just said? He said that you can use these goggles, go like this, and you can maximize something in the real world. Like you can actually increase the size by just going like this.
These
I'll tell you what
these
it'd
two
be
would
good for
not
you
know.
for with sex.
What?
If you are, going crazy with a ugly creature that you found in the back alleys of Santa Monica,
Yeah.
You could put on those goggles and she could be a 10 right quick.
That joke didn't hit because everyone knows that I hang out with hotter girls than you.
Hang out. But I know you
And
have
also close on.
no, but you'll notice the hotter they are, the more trouble you have closing.
That's not true at all. That's not true. Jeff will back it up. You look like a lizard.
I am a lizard.
This is what we were talking about. You are becoming Mark Zuckerberg. You're becoming separated from
I love
humans.
grilling meats. I like BJJ.
Do you? Do you like BJJ?
I do. I have bad knees though.
Because Israel put you in that triangle pretty easily.
Oh, he fucked me up.
I
that
commented.
was at the end of 5 minutes. It was
I
a 5-minute
commented. I
round.
said what I said that better have been scripted. Because it like you had to see that coming.
Dude, I can't believe how many people talking shit to me about getting triangle choked by the best fighter in the world. UFC fans, Gio, you know this. UFC fans all think they are the UFC expert. Like they could do it. That's why they do it. It makes them feel tough. Like, man, you should have fucking seen that. He is the best in the world. I have no shame in being. I'm honored.
Did you see it coming?
Yeah, I saw it coming. I was exhausted. Dog, come on. I thought we were going to spar, like box that day. I don't train BJJ. The last time I rolled around was with Paulo Costa 5 years ago. And I made it like 4 minutes and 40 seconds in a 5-minute round. I'm exhausted. He knows exactly what he's doing. And then I got Volkanovski, the little spark plug. He almost killed me. And then this other guy, Craig Jones, who's like their BJJ wizard trainer, just annihilated me.
You know what? I take it back. My sister caught me in a triangle, but she's a purple belt. She's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
No way.
Damn, you're a pussy.
That's
bro.
wild.
But if there were strikes, I would have. She would have never fucking landed it.
You hit women?
Triangle chokes are just hard.
My
because-
sister, if she's choking me out, you know what? I said a lot of things I regret on the show already. I'm done. I'm taking 5. I'm clocking out.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
I would never hit my sister. Karen, I love you. Her name's Karen.
Her name's
that
at.
sucks.
Yeah.
Your mom
that
like for
buried her.
Bro, my mom got my name Jeff and Karen.
No!
My mom predicted the
All the
two
memes.
memes.
My name's
Jordan made her son $300 million a year because of that deal. She ruined mine and my sister's lives.
Tell your mom that you love her down the pipe.
I tell
She
her
know
I
all
love
the
her every
problem.
day.
The problem is that all moms already know. You know what I'm saying? Dads don't get the love that they need, that they deserve.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, you're right.
Are you insane? Like actually insane?
I bought a shirt that says slightly insane.
Maybe.
It's a good shirt. I was like, that one.
You can't. I can't make a statement and you can't say speak for yourself. Like it doesn't even apply. It means nothing. What the fuck?
Bro, these people don't understand. My sister's not like a woman. She's
Are you still talking about you beating the shit out of your sister, bro? We already that was
And
like
now
six-
she's not even a
She's-
woman.
what does that mean? She's a hybrid.
she's non-binary. No. She's just fucking tough. She's tough. She works her ass off. She rides horses and just does Brazilian jiu-jitsu for fun.
Does she
Were
go
you-
to?
Wait, were you grappling or she just caught you?
No, we went into the gym to fight, and like it was for like a Patreon video or something, a lazy, no effort vlog that I did with her, and she caught me once. But again, if there were strikes allowed, it wouldn't have gone that way. Elbow, right on the. She shot a gun one time. She lives in Kentucky. She shot a gun.
Oh,
a
that's the one
shotgun.
from Kentucky.
Yeah. Well, she moved there. We grew up in New York City, but she moved there because she loves horses. She shot a gun at a shooting range, a shotgun, what is it called, recoil?
Yeah.
Hit her in the forehead. She blasted her forehead open, and she just super glued it back together. She didn't get stitches, so now she has a monster scar like mine down her whole forehead.
Oh my god.
She's nuts. She don't even care.
Is she? Is she like a redneck now?
She did pick up a little bit of like
Tendencies.
an accent,
Like a
kinda,
twang,
which
southern
it's
twang.
like.
But is that where it ends? She drink.
Does she
like
drink
a lot of
beer?
Did she get the
Yeah.
leash when she was younger as well?
No. My dad never.
That's
no.
good. That's good.
No.
Does she-
What
Pablo tiene AT&T, Daniel Spectrum One. Con AT&T, Pablo paga $55 por internet y $75 por su línea Unlimited Extra.
Más los cargos mensuales. Ouch.
Con Spectrum One, Daniel obtiene Spectrum Internet por $49.99 al mes, con Wi-Fi avanzado gratis y una línea ilimitada de Spectrum móvil gratis por 12 meses.
Todo por $49.99.
Así Daniel ahorra casi $100 más al mes.
Me cambia Spectrum.
Llama al 1-877-480-1323, haz clic o visita una tienda Spectrum.
What did I say on this show? It's the late night shows.
They can be
so
pretty dangerous.
hard.
How long have we been going, guys?
20 minutes, I think.
I'm just so tired.
Let's wrap it up, huh?
We've just
Hey,
never
you-
really done a show under an hour.
Hold on, I had one joke that I wanted to say. You had Bear Grylls on, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he's so great, dude.
Why?
Yeah, because he only
Oh.
went 45 minutes. He couldn't even survive a full show with you guys.
Oh my god.
I've been dying to say that one.
Yeah, no,
Shortest
it was
episode ever.
yeah.
He went a little longer.
It was like 46 or something.
He gave us 45. He ended up going 50, 52.
Was it? Was it that long?
You know, I don't care. I don't care if it's under an hour.
No, I mean, it was just an easy layup joke.
No, it was,
you know,
it was funny. It was funny. He's amazing. Bear's
He was
amazing.
incredible. I think like we said that he just has so much like wisdom and like and so much perspective on life because he's been so close to dying so many times. And he's been in so many like terrible positions where he had to rely on like just so much shit and a positive thought process and all that wisdom to get through, and he just bestows it. That's a great show.
Yeah.
It's a great show.
there was something about nearly dying that just will give you a completely different outlook on life. You know?
Yeah.
You said it sounded like you had the same kind of takeaway that I did. Is like when you're really hit with fight or flight.
Mm-hmm.
I could say before that happened that like, oh, I'm a fighter or whatever. But after my shoot didn't open and I was like, I had to make that decision.
Yeah.
It was just a calm fight. Let's do what I need to
Yeah.
do to survive. There was no panic.
You learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
me knowing that I could do that. Like
Yeah.
I was capable of thinking and acting and
Mhm.
saving my own life in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I needed to know
yeah,
that.
yeah. You can take that far. You can take that far in life.
Mm-hmm.
Did we shoot another podcast already today?
Yes, Mike.
How long ago was that?
12 hours ago. And then we did a fucking Money in the Bank WWE match after 6 days of traveling Europe.
You know what I just
launching Prime. Barcelona, FC Barcelona partnership was
Today.
good. Most liked post ever on Drink Prime. Prime partnering with FC Barcelona.
Over the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable.
It's a big team. It's a great team.
The drink's doing well.
I was just thinking to myself, if we had not done the show tonight and like flown somewhere exotic, woke up tomorrow in like a pretty place and shot this show tomorrow, that would have been fucking sick. Like that would have been sick, dude. Because we would all had energy. We would have.
By the way, the only reason that didn't happen is because we couldn't get the jet. Private travel in Europe is, you might as well just take commercial for every European wishing that you could travel private. No, I mean, it's you go through the same security check-in.
Yeah.
The plane, you have to do like border control because you're going to different countries, although it's like Europe. The whole passport thing, the luggage.
Which,
you have
by
to
the
wait
way,
for your
those are
plane.
all the main attributes and all the main benefits of flying private.
That's what
No,
Logan
that's what I'm
was
saying.
No, yeah, no,
You
that's-
lose all. You
that's-
lose
yeah,
all of it.
yeah.
It's maybe an hour or two quicker. Granted, I'm being a prissy fucking.
No, no,
bitch.
no, no.
I'm just saying
it's
it was
gonna
an
come.
interesting realization.
It's gonna come off like that, but it's really just reflection on a truthhood because those are the benefits. Like you can't drive up to the plane.
No,
you can't
no.
skip the security. Those are all the things you pay for.
Yep,
So in
exactly.
fact, you're giving people in the audience who in the next few years might have 50 to 75 to $100 million off some sort of crazy lottery hit or business sale and come here and want to fly from Brussels to Portugal.
It'll take you a second to get that, and if you want a last minute change, you're most likely unlikely not gonna be able to do that. I gotta go to sleep, guys.
You sound like Nate Diaz.
Let's talk about the
you guys
submarine
should-
to wrap it up. Just I feel like we need to talk about it. It was in the show notes. We got to talk about it.
Why was it so
what is
talked
there to
about?
what I don't know.
Why?
dude.
Yeah, why?
Here, I'll tell you why, Jeff. Because the situation that those 5 people were in was unimaginable. It is horrifying. to be encapsulated.
No, they got zapped right away.
We didn't know that at the time. We didn't know that at the time.
But the U.S. Navy knew that, and I think the media
No,
ran with it just because it was a good story.
I've heard this as well. It was a cover up, and there's like things in the background, right? There's like multiple billions of dollars funded to this state.
Shut the fuck
I heard
up,
it. I heard it,
dude.
but also
Shut
the U.S. Navy didn't know it. They heard an explosion in the ocean, just like they heard banging sounds in the ocean that turned out to be just regular
An
ocean
octopus
noises.
running over a speed bump. like no one, who knows what the fuck.
No,
the
like
bang
obviously
is.
after they were like, "Oh, this thing likely imploded," the Navy was like, "Oh, we did hear something." Sure, they should have said it a little sooner, but it's a military.
It got so
Bro,
much
can I tell you
coverage.
why?
Why I got so much
I'll
coverage?
explain it to you.
It's
I'll
a
explain it to you.
nightmare scenario.
No, that's
with
part of it.
Billionaires
That's
on
the
board.
main part of it. Because everyone hates rich people. Rich people are hated by everybody who doesn't have money wants rich people to die. Like, bro, in all honesty, if a laser guided missile could hit this room right now, people would be so fucking happy. Because it would take out you, it would take out your rich
Definitely
ass.
London.
No, but listen to me. This room specifically.
Logan's a wank.
Wanker. They would, bro,
You deserved
if he
it.
ended up,
Literally.
They really.
bro, if he ended up with a munition through his side of his head right now that came out in one ear and out the other.
Think about that. Think about that. Think about me sitting on this couch getting legitimately fucking assassinated. Sniper rifle
Yes,
through my head.
yes.
Jeff, you know Twitter would have a field day.
Every-
And by the way, these
every news
are
publication in the
real
world.
people.
Yeah.
These are real people who would literally be like, "Well, he got what he had coming,
Yeah.
dude." What?
Oh, no, and you would be a part
I'm
of-
sitting on a couch.
Yeah. You would have memes. You'd have bro, like.
That's,
I guess I also guess there's not a lot going
I'm good.
on.
I'm good with life. I feel like I've done it all, and I'm happy with my life. And
Would you
I
go on a submarine?
I could perish right now. No, I could perish right now and be happy with what I've done. However, I have to stay alive just to prove these fuckers wrong. It is my goal to outlive every fucking hater. I need to be to 150 years old before I perish.
You like all the exploration
I don't know
stuff?
how.
You want to go to space and stuff like that? You would.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like I'll probably do the opposite of a submarine. I'll go to space and explode.
No, you can.
Implode.
You
No,
still
you
implode?
can. No, you can explode. It would be very quiet. It'd be quiet.
Let me ask you a question. Why doesn't the Titanic implode?
Because it's not sealed. You
Okay,
fucking
it was a
you
test. It was
human
a test.
animal.
It was a test for
You
you.
hybrid.
It was
you
a test.
You centaur.
Parts
You're
of it
not
were
even a
sealed.
human, bro.
right.
Doors.
No, but
Yeah,
they're not
the
anymore,
doors.
What are you
bro.
talking
Water is able to
Those little
free-
circle windows.
Doors.
Let me ask you a question.
Doors are sealed.
Do you, when all the submarine talk got me thinking
Yeah.
about subs, has anyone had Subway recently?
It's horrible.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening to this episode of Impulsive.
I like Subway.
We love you guys. If you aren't
Disgusting.
subscribed,
The meat
hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you.
Then
for
have the
listening to this
fucking
episode.
tuna.
Thank you, Jeff for tech, and manager Jeff, for joining us this episode.
I guess Jared
Thanks for having
Fogle
me.
kind of ruined it.
We'll
with
see
the
you
whole-
guys next time. Take it easy. Peace.
Care instructions for my Gatsby.
For beef, short for beefcake.
Mr. Henry Chicken.
Mel likes dressing up to go out. He has more outfit than his daddy.
Henry loves to lick.
He loves people.
He likes hair dryers blowing on his face.
Every Friday, they get an ice cream party.
Sounds good. When do we start? This is why I can't ask my friends to do this.
I grew up knowing two dudes without tongues. That's Florida. Tongueless Brett and In this dream, I said, I want to go find my wife. In a dream?
You already got her in real life, 24/7.
Adriana Chechik. My wife is a redneck. Discipline your dog with a shovel kind of redneck. Like spit on a light bulb to watch it bubble for fun.
You ever sink a boat?
No, I tried to. I fucking love your questions.
Calm down, Jeff.
Great
What do you think
sponsors.
is going on?
What?
We ain't got no sponsors. This show don't make no money. Welcome back to Impulsive, the not money-making show. The #1 not money-making show in the world. A show where we don't make money. If you guys aren't subscribed, honestly, nah, I'm changing it up. If you are subscribed, unsubscribe.
Dude, you're on
if you
one.
were gonna like this video,
Don't do it.
don't do it.
Don't you do
We're
it.
here today in WeHo. We're in West Hollywood. Another beautiful house.
For sale.
The bathroom upstairs. Whoops.
Yo.
I'm sure Bert is destroying the bathroom right now.
Dude, can I get a little more volume in my headphones, please? Just turn me up just a tad bit, dude, so I could hear anything.
Man, shut your.
Shut up. Sorry, Jeff. Sorry. Oh my God, we're gonna have to put a PG rating on it. It was the Land Before Time. You want
Dude.
kids to watch
Bert's
it?
got a crew. You got a squad. This is unlike anything I've seen.
Yeah, check me out. If nothing's happening. Check. Now it is.
Hello.
Dude, Bert Kreischer just rolled in here with a harem of beautiful women.
This is wild, Bert. I did not expect.
He brought a gang with him. What?
Wow.
Are any of them Russian?
We got an intro for you. You don't just have to stand there the whole time, but I'm gonna do it. Are you ready? Yeah. All right. Dylan wrote it, so if you hate it, just the guy to your right, just give him a little smack. Our guest today has a new comedy special, Razzle Dazzle, on Netflix, and a new movie, The Machine, opening May 26th, based on his true life encounter with the Russian mob. I cannot wait to get into that. You can catch him on his tour this summer at the Fully Loaded Comedy Fest, along with his friends. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Bert Kreischer.
Bert. How are you, brother?
It's an honor. I'm a fan.
Dude, we're
fans.
No, man, I can tell you the moment I became a fan.
Oh, shit.
I can. I remember, I'm going to move this up.
Yeah, do you think?
I was in Serbia. I was shooting my movie, and your brother had pulled Floyd's hat off.
The hat.
So, no, but that's not the moment.
Oh.
This is the moment. So I'm in my bed. I'm just kind of watching it. You know when you just are like, you're not into it. You're just kind of.
Yeah.
And you and your brother get into a fight in front of your mom about him stealing your thunder, which immediately is a fight that happens in my family all the time.
Yeah.
You and your brother get on a private jet, and you have a moment, and you're like, "Hey, I love you," and he's like, "I'm sorry." He goes, "Hey, Logan," and he takes your hat off your head.
Yeah.
I sit up in my bed, laughing hysterically. I go, "All right, I'm in on both these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
These are my guys.
Yes,
I gotta love them." So,
Yes.
And the podcast is fucking awesome, man.
Thank
I love the interviews you do with all the comedians.
Thanks.
It's different. I almost pulled out of this podcast because Schultz pranked me with a fucking clown, and I was like, I'm like, that'll be exactly what this interview is. Clowns everywhere, balloons.
Everyone thinks we're gonna fuck with them.
Yeah.
Kill the clowns. Nah, put him back.
I did see the clown thing. We were told in our brief.
Don't bring fucking clowns.
No, we did.
Wonder if
we
I
did.
can even read it here.
They said it's the one thing that's off
It
limits.
said do not bring a clown.
Don't mention clowns. Don't laugh like a clown. Don't even mention Andrew Schultz.
Dude,
That's what they said to us.
I was so out of control on that podcast, and I was embarrassed because I didn't know how I behaved. Normally, when you're on a podcast, you represent yourself. Yeah. Second the clown came in, I shut down, I froze, and I couldn't be funny. I couldn't turn it around, and I was like, fuck. Now everyone knows my weakness. Bring out clowns, and I shut down.
So now it's my turn to gas you up. So what you're describing here is the reason why I'm a fan. It's the reason why I, along with I think probably a lot of people really like you, is you're this really funny, jovial spirit, but you're also like kind of emotional, and you wear it on your sleeve, and we can like relate to it, and we see it, and you've chosen online to be vulnerable at points, which I love from comedians. It's the one thing with comedians that sometimes I feel a little bit of a disconnect, is that they're always joking.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure when they're real. You know, Theo Von, what is he a real person?
I'm not so sure about that, dude.
What-
He is,
I've known him for 20 years. I couldn't tell you. I've been sitting with him at times, and he's like, "Are you doing a bit right now?"
Like, well, how do we know? How do we know? Nah, but you've been one of the people in this new age media that has decided to open up your life and your feelings, and we love it, Bert. And so we're honored to have you on. I'm glad you didn't cancel. No clowns are coming.
I like that he's always doing that.
So-
I like
so
that
much
he's always
laughter and
smiling.
smiling.
Sometimes I'm not sure when I see you doing it if you're actually happy or if you're in some kind of pain.
No.
Because that smile is so big and infectious, and I just am curious sometimes.
So I think I have this. First of all, I have like a punitive brain. So like I wake up, if I'm hungover, I force myself to work out, and I force myself to. I'll get on Instagram and do
Jack is crafted at the oldest registered distillery in the United States, where it's charcoal mellowed drop by drop for a smooth finish. Which isn't the easy way, but it is Jack's way.
Heat advisories are now in effect for millions of Americans as temperatures reach past 100 degrees and are expected from the southwest all the way to Miami, Florida. More severe storms also expected in the Plain States.
Well, the extreme heat is having major implications for everyone on planet Earth.
That's right. As we previously reported, the unofficial hottest day on the planet was recorded earlier this week. And the rising temperatures are causing growing concerns over the long-term effects now of climate change.
Chris Field, the director of the Sanford Woods Institute for the Environment, joins us now. Chris, thanks so much for being with us. I want to ask...
My pleasure. Thank you.
First off, what is driving this? We know climate change is playing a big role, but if you can explain a little more about what's driving this rise in temperatures.
So these global records are really driven by three things. One is the rising temperatures that are caused by global warming, a result of human emissions of heat-trapping gases. The second is we've recently transitioned into El Nino conditions, a state of the Pacific Ocean that makes the ocean less capable of taking up heat, leaves more in the atmosphere. And the third is that it's summertime and it's always hot in the Northern Hemisphere summer. Those three factors added together mean we're seeing global record high temperatures. The high temperature set, the record set on Monday was broken Tuesday, and it was tied again on Wednesday.
This is one of those moments, Chris, where I get concerned that we just as humans have a real collective action problem, because it was 20 years ago, the IPCC, that the UN's kind of climate change body, was sounding the alarm about the rising global temperatures and the expectation, and it's all happening as predicted, but yet here we are, humans still actively playing a role somewhat in the changing temperature. Just tell me specifically what role we do play in what's happening and how much power we have to reverse it, if at all, by now.
A great question. Essentially, all the warming we've seen in the last century is a result of human emissions, release of these heat-trapping gases to the atmosphere. And unfortunately, the emissions are still going up, even though we've made really dramatic progress in the price of renewables and the reliability and attractiveness of electric vehicles. We just need to do the same things that we're doing faster and better. We can solve this problem. We know the cause, and we know how to deploy the solutions, and we're seeing some progress. We're just not seeing progress that's fast enough.
And I want to ask about that because the situation looks very dire, but is it possible not just to stop what's happening to our planet, but reverse some of these effects and ultimately cool some of these rising temperatures?
It is possible. We need to do two things. First, we need to bring the emissions of these heat-trapping gases down to zero. This is heat-trapping gases released by electricity production, by manufacturing, by buildings, by transportation, and by agriculture. And then we need to be removing greenhouse gases from the atmosphere, including planting more forests, taking better care of grassland and agricultural soils, and building up the carbon stock in land and ocean ecosystems, removing carbon from the atmosphere and cooling the climate.
Take that advice and run with it. Hey, also take a bike. Ride the bike every now and then. You know, if you're not driving, I don't know if you ride bikes. Chris, do you ride bikes?
I ride to work every day.
There we go. Right. You heard it from him first. Chris Field, thanks for joining us today and discussing this.
My pleasure. Stay cool.
Go to motionarray.com to add this to your video and that and that.
Fire, smoke, 2D. Get it on Motion Array.
Create this in just one click.
Motionarray.com.
Endless sound effects.
Get it on Motion Array. We need the best music for this video.
Get it on Motion Array.
Go to Motion Array now to get everything you need to create stunning videos.
I chose Wix for my business because of its massive scope for functionality and freedom of creation. Being able to integrate and change and develop at my own pace. I offer a range of products and services To manage it all from one place is essential. It gave me time back in my day to get going on actual projects. It really just made everything feel more achievable.
Some to credit the shoe's popularity to timing, especially as its stock price has been dropping since the pandemic boom has waned. But other comfortable footwear brands didn't take off the way Crocs did. So how did Crocs make a name for itself during the pandemic? And how did it find success as one of fashion's most divisive shoes? This is the economics of Crocs. The company was founded in 2002, the same year it debuted its classic clog. The name Crocs was inspired by crocodiles, who live on land and in water.
When Crocs were first released, they were intended for a consumer that was looking at them as a functional thing. So probably gardeners, people that, were on boats, people that worked all day on their feet, people that worked on a line at a kitchen.
Part of what makes them so functional is the material, a proprietary closed-cell resin called Crosslite that's slip-resistant, lightweight, and easy to clean.
Producing a molded shoe is certainly simpler in a lot of ways than assembling a sneaker. The most underrated advantage they have over the marketplace is that it's clear that they're able to kind of do things that other companies would not be able to do because of their scale and because of their production capabilities.
Crocs sales took off. In the first 3 quarters of 2005, it sold 4.4 million shoes, hitting a revenue of $75 million. Part of the reason for its initial success was that the shoe was easy to get. It was available at retail stores, gift shops, and mall kiosks. In 2006, Crocs purchased Jibbitz, a company that made small plastic shoe charms. That same year, the company went public and became the largest ever U.S. footwear IPO at the time. But in 2008, in the midst of the financial crash, the company suffered a net income loss of $185 million. Though the initial craze had simmered, the brand still managed to hang on to a relatively large customer base over the next few years thanks to its global presence. In 2014, Crocs started making major changes to its business model, closing dozens of stores, shifting away from malls, and turning to online sellers like Amazon.
Crocs announcing today it will eliminate nearly 200 jobs and close a number of retail stores as part of a restructuring effort.
The company also cut back on the number of styles it sold by between 30 and 40% and refocused on the classic clog that made it famous. The following year, Crocs invested in a global marketing push to relaunch its brand image. Despite its efforts, the company's stock held steady until 2020 when the global pandemic hit.
Prior to people working from home and, not wearing their dress shoes, not wearing their heels, there was already this rising wave of comfort-minded, comfort-first footwear that was really becoming more popular. Of course, that accelerated during the pandemic.
The comfort aspect is what many call the key to Crocs' success. But another important factor is how easy it is to customize the shoe with Jibbitz.
You could move them to different Crocs over time as you got a green pair or a camo pair or a pink pair that the Jibbitz would stay with you and they were yours. They were almost like the way a keychain on a backpack was at a certain point.
This idea of individuality and self-expression is one that the brand emphasizes through its marketing campaigns. And on social media, the uniqueness of the shoe's design has sparked debate.
Even going back to Crocs' early days, there were 2 warring factions of Crocs are ugly and they're a blight on society and we need to get rid of them.
I don't care how comfortable they are. They're ugly.
And then there were people that said, no, they're cute and they're kind of doughy and they're fun.
Look how freaking cute these are.
Crocs leaned into this polarization, partnering with celebrities and well-known brands to create limited edition versions of the classic clog.
I think that's probably the biggest shift within the fashion world of the past decade is that people truly seem to design for Instagram because you want to stop people from scrolling, and certainly a shoe plastered with fried chicken does that.
In 2018, Crocs says its Balenciaga clog, an $850 4-inch platform shoe, sold out within hours. And in 2021, Crocs says it partnered with more than 24 brands, artists, and creators through collaborations and license programs.
Sometimes it was through Jibbitz, but sometimes it was like these kind of crazy revamping of what their clog was.
Constantly releasing new collaborations has not only kept Crocs in the press, but it has also helped it break into new markets.
there are like Croc collectors that go after every model.
Honey, I am overflowing with Crocs.
The same way that Nikes resell on websites like StockX and eBay, Crocs are now reselling.
Crocs and other comfortable shoes may have peaked with the pandemic as people begin to migrate back into work and consider more traditionalist footwear. But many others are still prioritizing comfort.
We're seeing that with a lot of doughy running sneakers that people are wearing. We're seeing that certainly with the growth of slides as a huge business in the luxury market.
Crocs' stock has dropped around 60% since its November 2021 high.
I think the market's nervous about the short term, right? So we're definitely seeing supply constraints in the first quarter.
But the company says its fourth straight year of revenue growth was fueled by continued global demand, and it expects revenues to grow to over $5 billion by 2026.
I think that they might plateau at a certain point. You could only reach so many consumers, but I think for now they have been able to convince enough consumers that they deserve space within their closet.
And they gotta have the 2 fingers.
Take your business to the next level with an online store powered by Shopify. First, go to Shopify.com and start your free trial. Bring your brand to life with Shopify's drag and drop store builder. Choose from over 70 professional and free website templates and get set up in minutes. You can quickly customize colors, images, and text without any design or coding skills. Connect your product catalog to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and offer your customers a better shopping experience from browsing to checkout. Add products with ease using Shopify's mobile app. You can take photos and videos of your products and upload them directly to your product listing, all from your phone. When your store is ready, start accepting your payments instantly with Shopify Payments and enjoy 0% transaction fees. And if you need help, connect with Shopify's 24/7 support team by email, live chat, and phone. Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Go to Shopify.com and start your free trial today.
Do you ever wish you had a creative collaborator to help you brainstorm and develop your ideas? With Grammarly Go, you can generate ideas, outlines, and drafts right where you work. Use what you create as a thought starter to build upon, or add it straight into your doc. Rewriting is as easy as typing how you want to sound. Sometimes it's even easier, as Grammarly Go understands your preferred style and suggests relevant one-click rewrites. Grammarly Go uses your unique context, your voice, what you're writing, and where you're writing it to guide you as you ideate and refine. Wondering if your draft can get even better? With the click of a button, instantly make your writing clear, compelling, and mistake-free. When you co-create with Grammarly Go, you get to better ideas faster. Download Grammarly Go today. You'll be amazed at what you can do.
Dollar General's business model, it's a retailer that can make a lot of money selling very cheap goods to a relatively small number of people.
If you've ever shopped at a Dollar General, you might have found the store on a remote road like this one.
It has every appearance of being in the middle of nowhere, but this is a meticulously planned, very well thought through strategy.
A strategy that's been key to Dollar General's success in rural America. The company is bucking current retail trends by expanding rapidly and opening stores away from population centers.
Dollar Generals go where Walmarts aren't.
But it's not just the strategic locations far away from big box stores. Dollar General employs a number of tactics to keep operating costs down, including leasing stores, paying employees low wages, and selling limited products. And yes, that includes stuff that isn't really a dollar.
Dollar General is almost something unto itself. It kind of takes pieces from a lot of different retailing models.
This is the economics of Dollar General. After more than 30 consecutive years of sales growth, Dollar General has become one of the most profitable and fastest growing retailers in the US. Last year, the company brought in more than $30 billion in sales. So how has a store that sells products at rock bottom prices managed such extreme growth?
They add about 2.5 stores every day in the United States. Just for scope, there's more than 4 times as many Dollar Generals as there are Walmarts. There's more Dollar Generals than there are McDonald's in the United States.
There are currently more than 17,000 Dollar Generals in the US. But if you don't live in rural America, you might not have ever even stepped foot inside the store.
Where would you typically find a Dollar General? You'd think of a two-lane road, think of, places where the houses are far apart, farmlands, kind of lower income communities. You might find them by a post office or a church or at an important intersection.
This is often a deliberate decision. The company has formulas for identifying locations to open stores. Often, the Dollar General will be down the road, miles away from the nearest town and Walmart, areas with limited shopping options. 3/4 of Dollar General stores serve communities of 20,000 people or less, according to the company.
It looks for need first and foremost. So it's going to look for a place that we might call a food desert, where there's not a grocery store, there's not a big box store. Its kind of target demographic is households with people making $40,000 or less. And it looks for a place where it can get inexpensive real estate.
To keep costs down, Dollar General tends to lease their properties rather than buy them. And inside the stores, it has a limited selection of products that it buys in bulk, which gives the company more buying power with suppliers. Most Dollar General stores don't offer fresh produce, and compared to grocery stores have less perishable items, which have a shorter shelf life and bring in lower margins.
You walk into a Dollar General, you're gonna see metal shelves, it's gonna be quite bare bones. Think linoleum, think bright lighting. You won't see a lot of people working there.
By paying low wages to a minimal, often part-time staff, the company keeps labor costs low. The median annual income for employees is just over $16,000, according to Dollar General. Dollar General says they employ more than 157,000 individuals, and that they offer employees competitive wages and benefits.
These stores are staffed at minimum levels, so there aren't many employees. They pay closer to a gas station attendant than even a Walmart employee. So it's people that, much like their customer base, people who live in an area where there aren't a ton of other options.
When you're free to test your limits, you can push yourself to new heights. Get into it. Lululemon Pacebreaker Shorts.
Despite the name, not everything costs $1, but prices are extremely cheap and often significantly lower than grocery and drugstores. Critics say Dollar General's strategies harm local communities by not providing healthy food options and potentially hurting the local small business economy. Dollar General says that they are not a grocery store and that they are serving customers that would otherwise not have access to an affordable retail option. Ultimately, the low prices and the convenience for rural customers is what keeps people coming back. Some shoppers have even found items for under $1.
Penny shopping at Dollar General, let's go! The first store I found Propel water for 1 cent. I always use the Dollar General app, scan and verify it's a penny before heading to the register.
Dollar General is on pace to continue growing. The company grew 16% during the pandemic, a time where other retailers saw growth in e-commerce, not in-person shopping.
Dollar General plans to open about 1,000 stores this year, and when you have a business model that involves small footprint stores without a lot of embellishments or bells and whistles, a company can do that quickly and they can do it cheaply.
Dollar General is also branching out and going in new directions. It's been experimenting with stocking more fresh and refrigerated food and moving towards urban centers. It plans to expand pOpshelf, a new chain aimed at higher-income suburban customers.
pOpshelf, in addition to being located in different places, it'll aim to sell things that are more fun. So not as much staples that you need to get by day to day, but things like decorations, party supplies, a little bit more fun than necessary.
Dollar General says the new expansion isn't necessarily a shift from their overall growth strategy. They say they can serve a diverse customer base with stores in urban, rural, and suburban locations. Yet even as Dollar General expands its offerings and target demographics, the company expects that its core customers will continue to be shoppers in small towns without other options.
There really is a before and after Sephora when it comes to the makeup industry.
Until about 20 years ago, this is how most Americans shopped for luxury makeup. A sales representative of the brand would stand behind the makeup counter and help customers make a purchase.
That completely changed with Sephora. Now it's a free-for-all. People walk in the stores, they test whatever they want. Nothing is behind the glass.
So, How did this French retailer come to dominate the global personal care and beauty product industry? And what business practices helped make it the industry leader that it is today? This is the economics of Sephora. Today, the beauty retailer employs over 36,000 people in more than 2,700 stores in over 35 countries. Those stores carry over 250 beauty brands.
At this point, Sephora's like kind of my second home.
The Sephora that we know today has its roots in a small perfume shop that opened in 1969 in Limoges, France. At that time, the perfume and cosmetics market was dominated by a service-based retail model, in which staff typically received commissions based on sales. Instead, Sephora used the assisted self-service model, in which customers are free to test products in the store.
We have a full station where you can just literally grab whatever, and you can try on the lipsticks, you can try on the eyeshadows. I always leave looking like a literal different person when I arrive.
Sephora customers can still request help from a sales associate, who Sephora calls a beauty advisor.
There's a little bit more trust with the sales representatives in the Sephora store because they're brand agnostic. So they can tell you, maybe you should buy the mascara from this brand, but you should buy the blush from a different brand.
Sephora also bucked convention in the manner in which it displayed its products.
So makeup items are next to each other, whereas from the same brand, a fragrance would be in the fragrance aisle. From the same brand, a skincare product would be in the skincare aisle.
Then, in 1997, founder Dominique Montenot sold Sephora to the large luxury retail conglomerate LVMH.
One of the advantages of being owned by a conglomerate like LVMH is that the company can jump very quickly on trends, and actually several of the brands that are sold in Sephora stores are owned by LVMH.
One of the popular brands owned by LVMH is Fenty Beauty by Rihanna.
And then Fenty, of course, has a huge section, the whole row of Fenty. We got the lip glosses up front.
Sephora's success also stems from its exclusive line of products.
There's a little bit of a tension in the relationship between a store and a brand. Because Sephora is such a hot store for makeup brands to sell their products in, Sephora ends up having a lot more leverage in that relationship.
The Sephora collection!
The challenge for high-end beauty brands these days is that they're really facing a conundrum. They've become increasingly dependent on Sephora for sales growth, but because LVMH also produces beauty brands and there's an element of competition there, and more brands are coming out constantly, the shelf space is shrinking.
5 Sephora products you need to try, part 10.
In part due to that product exclusivity, Sephora boasts a loyal customer base.
Here are 5 Sephora products you need to buy tonight. Sorry, I don't make the rules, you just have to.
So what you'll find oftentimes on Instagram or TikTok is that people have these haul videos where they're showing all the products that they bought on Sephora and they're going one by one, talking about them.
This is the Kosas Tinted Face Oil and it's $42. I recommend this product to everyone and they're always like, I'm paying $42 for a face oil? Yes, you are.
Many faithful customers are members of Sephora's Beauty Insider program, which has 3 different tiers and more than 25 million members. The lowest tier is the Beauty Insider. The next level up is VIB, or Very Important Beauty Insider, which users must spend $350 in a calendar year to unlock. The top level is called Rouge, which customers can access after spending at least $1,000 in a calendar year. Benefits like savings increase with each tier.
I'm Rouge. Don't judge me. I know I spend a lot of money. Okay, I get it.
But the real advantage for Sephora for the Beauty Rewards program is that every time a customer goes in there.
As a police officer, congestion is a way of life that affects the community. It puts everything in a standstill.
We have the ability to fly around that. It's not just a green solution. It's not just an affordable solution. It's to provide value to people, benefit different communities. That's what we're trying to affect.
Sephora knows exactly what they bought, and that is very valuable information for the company to understand who the customer is, what they're purchasing, and then down the road to be able to market in a very personalized way to that customer.
Yet as much as the company profits on exclusivity with its products, when it comes to Sephora's consumer base, the retailer takes inclusivity seriously.
One of the ways that Sephora has tried to become more inclusive is by featuring a larger number of brands in their stores. They made an effort to include Black-owned brands, and then also by pushing brands to expand their product lines and offer products that appeal to people from different racial groups, different ethnicities.
In 2021, Sephora relaunched Color IQ, a skin tone matching technology that the company offers to assist customers in selecting the most natural products for their skin tone.
All the products that would be your exact color.
And Sephora is still expanding. In December 2020, the company announced a partnership with the department chain Kohl's to install 850 shops inside Kohl's stores by 2023. Since opening 200 Kohl's locations this summer, Sephora has added 200,000 new beauty insiders. In a statement to the Wall Street Journal, a Sephora spokesperson said, "We want to be an unequivocal global leader in the prestige beauty space and a purpose-driven brand that is a transformative opportunity for everyone we touch." They continued by outlining 3 main areas: customers, brands, and teams.
Sometimes when customers step outside the Sephora store, they will have splotches of makeup all over their arms, and that really showcases what they've been doing in the store.
Walk into a Target anywhere in the US, and you're likely to find sleek mannequins, elaborate displays, and fancy lighting.
Target is very focused on the aesthetics of their stores, their products. That is what they hope makes it feel like an elevated discount store experience.
This elevated experience, which has led some to nickname the store Target, is part of the company's strategy to differentiate itself from competitors and draw customers through the door. But what's happening in the front of a Target store is only a portion of the retailer's secret to success. This is the economics of Target.
Target, to me, is so interesting because really they're a department store that became a discount store. And they were always going after sort of a higher-end discount store image, and that's remained true to today.
Target positions itself as the option for cheap yet chic items, and customers can see the two ideas combined when walking around the store. In certain areas, like apparel, home goods, and electronics, Target stages items with lavish lighting and displays. But just across the way, you'll still find the standard merchandise aisles with uniform fluorescent lights.
Target has always tried to sort of meld these like visual expectations that we have from a department store, like the mannequins and the good lighting and like a display for cosmetics. With a discount model, they also want you to feel like you're getting a good deal. And I think you see that as they iterate on store designs, they still strive for that combination.
According to a study by Hawk Incentives, when a customer feels like they're getting a good deal, it can make them feel smart and in turn increase sales.
Don't get distracted at Target. Don't get distracted at Target. Don't get distracted. Oh, I need that.
Retailers always are looking for this balance of things that bring you to the store that you need, like a gallon of milk, and the things that you might buy on a whim that they actually make more money off of.
Target store design is one of several factors that have helped the retailer expand in recent years. The business has grown more than 35% in the last 2 years, crossing $100 billion in annual revenue, driven in large part by the pandemic and a decision Target made 5 years ago to invest in its stores.
You know, lots of retailers said, hey, Amazon is here. Let's stop building stores. Let's remodel what we have. Let's develop an e-commerce model. Let's invest in other things. Target has continued adding stores. Some of them tend to be smaller stores, different types of formats, while they've invested in e-commerce, but they haven't completely pulled back on expanding their store count.
The retailer has over 1,900 locations in the U.S., which is smaller than Walmart but bigger than Costco. Around 75% of the U.S. population lives within 10 miles of one of these stores.
So Target, like lots of established retailers, big retailers, has this huge benefit right now, which is they have the stores already, and you probably live pretty close to one. And that's enabled them to say, offer things online for pickup in the store parking lot, which has been wildly successful for them during the pandemic because they have that store for you to go and pick up your online order at.
The majority of operations, like in-store and curbside pickup and fulfillment for online orders, get started in the back room of the stores.
It's been so interesting because they started to say, like, we're going to use our stores. We're not going to build big, e-commerce warehouses. We're going to use our stores several years ago. And there was a little bit of skepticism in the market because it didn't seem like you could really be that efficient in that model. But in the end, they say they've saved a lot of money because A, they're not building a huge warehouse, which costs a lot of money up front. And, they already have the trucks coming to their stores with their goods. And they're just using those stores to the maximum possibility.
Last year, Target's brick-and-mortar locations handled more than 95% of over $100 billion in sales. So walk around any Target and you're likely to see this operation in action. Workers move carts throughout the store, gathering and scanning items.
Now when you buy 4 Baja Legend MTZ, get a $70 reward. Mickey Thompson Tires announces a new American mud terrain legend, the new Baja Legend MTZ. 35 different sizes, and one is just waiting for your rig. The Baja Legend MTZ.
While others watch for cars pulling up and deliver their orders. In effect, Target hires workers specifically for its fulfillment operations. The company calls this role a fulfillment expert.
They're either out on the floor collecting goods off the shelves, just like a shopper, or they're in the back room packing up things into boxes, getting them labeled appropriately. They're really more like warehouse workers.
And now, the company is taking this a step further in an effort to bridge the gap between its stores and its delivery location.
They're doing these things called sortation centers, which allow them to basically have orders from stores that are being packed up by fulfillment workers, sent to that more central location, but still kind of close to stores, and then picked up and sent out from there.
Target's success is also strongly dependent on the items in its stores. At any given time, about 1/3 of Target's inventory is exclusive to the retailer through private labels. Similarly, designers will often partner with Target for a limited time capsule collection.
These capsule collections for Target are sort of marketing, right? It's a way to say, hey, we're high design. Big designers are interested in working with us, so it gives them a little bit of that cachet.
These collections are nearly as fundamental to Target as its bullseye logo. In the late 90s, top makeup artist Sonia Kashuk partnered with Target to create a professional makeup line at affordable prices. 16 years later, Target bought the line. And today, this line is only one of Target's more than 45 private labels.
They have become huge brands for Target, and they've added more and more. And now it's a pretty significant percentage of their sales. And private label, like at all companies, can be lower price for the consumer, but more profitable for the retailer. So there's a big interest for any retailer going in that direction.
According to a report by CB Insights, retailers can earn 25 to 30% higher gross margins on private labels compared to manufacturer brands. Target has yet to share the precise margin on its private labels, but currently 11 of its brands are worth at least $1 billion, with 4 brands crossing the $2 billion mark. While Target has transitioned through many iterations since it got its start in 1962, changing store designs many times and acquiring businesses within its larger brand, the company continues to evolve with the ever-changing customer.
They tend to kind of change strategy quickly when things aren't working, and I think we see them in the middle of potentially another version of that because the consumer is changing so much right now.
But even as the company evolves, some aspects remain the same.
I think the most consistent thing for Target has been this image, this idea that they're an elevated brand, they're different than their competitors. They have stuck with that since the beginning, and they still really lean on it today.
This is a tiny home on Airbnb. So far this year, this listing has brought in over $20,000 for its host. The typical U.S. host in 2021 earned over $13,800, according to the company.
The tiny home doesn't cost a lot to build, and yet it could charge hundreds of dollars a night.
Airbnb posted a profit in its second quarter, as guests booked a record number of stays and experiences, and hosts increased prices for rentals amid high inflation. But people didn't book as much as analysts had projected, and the company's summer bookings forecast fell short of expectations.
Obviously, it's an incredibly dynamic period of time, but I'm still expecting an incredibly strong period of travel, even if people pull back spending some.
So how did the largest home-sharing platform in the U.S. navigate its biggest crises, and could it borrow those lessons to weather fears of a recession? This is the economics of Airbnb.
Airbnb started around the time of the 2008 financial crisis. This was a time when people were really hard hit by the recession, and they were looking for a way to make an extra buck.
In 2016, the company launched Airbnb Experiences, which let travelers book classes, tours, and outings. Airbnb also spent more as it grew.
The CEO branched out into all kinds of things, like he wanted to have a media studios, he wanted to branch into transportation.
And then the pandemic hit. Business was down 80%, forcing Airbnb to take on $2 billion in debt and pause all non-essential projects.
I hope I never do a side project again in my life. I learned a lesson. I think the lesson is when you try to do new things as side things, they don't work.
Summer of 2020 was a turning point for Airbnb.
People started quarantining with their families. Friends started taking staycations while they could work remote. So that's something that definitely benefited Airbnb.
Local travel became its stronghold, and people started using the platform for longer stays. The company was one of the hottest public listings of 2020, though its stock price has fallen since then amid a broad market cool-off. In August, Airbnb projected record third-quarter revenue on the back of higher rental prices and said it expects to post its first full-year profit this year.
A lot of businesses have lucky moments, but there's something to be said about getting lucky and also being able to ride that wave and capitalize on it.
That's what Airbnb says it has done from the start.
Back then in 2008, a lot of people turned to hosting because they were losing their homes, high housing prices, and a lot of people, because they didn't have as much money, were looking for more affordable ways to travel than ever before.
That really helped them bring a lot of people who were looking for ways to make up for lost income onto the platform. And you can really see them capitalize on timing during the pandemic as well.
Airbnb redesigned its app and website to focus on local stays during the pandemic. Last summer, it launched a flexible search feature, which curates trips for people who don't know where they want to go.
The pandemic and remote work gave us that flexibility. We could travel during the week and still work remote. So Airbnb starts noticing this trend, and it says, oh my God, we can sort of capitalize on this, and they do.
In May, Airbnb launched another redesign of its search tool that split homes into more than 50 categories as a way to steer people to places they wouldn't otherwise have picked.
So what they're trying to do is they're trying to fill existing homes instead of adding more and more homes.
Some analysts say this is key to the company's future growth since global occupancy rates are low. When it comes to addressing safety issues on its platform, some cities have complained that Airbnb has been too hands-off.
They're not actively monitoring these properties because, frankly, they can't. They don't own them. So that's really where a lot of their problems stem from.
4 people killed, another 4 hurt, all of it happening in a house rented out on Airbnb.
After a 2019 Halloween shooting, the company announced safety measures, including a 24/7 neighborhood hotline to field complaints.
We've banned all parties globally on Airbnb. We have a risky reservation queue where we're looking at any suspicious activity, and we have a pretty hands-on team that's using some pretty advanced machine learning technology to essentially identify anything we think is suspicious. If it is, we'll continue to seek more information.
The company says the number of party complaints have dropped 44% in the last 2 years. Airbnb has also been trying to reduce that rate further by doing things like blocking 1 or 2 night stays on New Year's Eve and Halloween for guests without a history of positive reviews. But incidents keep happening.
Earlier this year, we had a shooting in Pittsburgh, and again, people were injured.
City officials have also blamed Airbnb for ruining the long-term rental market in some small communities.
What's happened is a lot of people are just snapping up properties and renting them, and as a result, locals don't have enough properties to rent long-term. Airbnb doesn't think that it's actually affected the long-term rental market. But, if you ask city officials, they have a different story.
For example, in 2020, the mayor of Sedona, Arizona, a tourist hotspot, said that the demand for Airbnb rentals worsened the shortage of affordable housing and demolished the long-term rental market.
If we are part of the problem, we are going to work with cities. That's why we've done numerous agreements with cities to create restrictions. We actually do want Airbnb to get more and more into long-term housing. We want people to really feel invested in the community.
One of the things that Airbnb is doing now is it's trying to direct people to areas where it has supply. And that sort of also takes the load off of certain places that everyone might go to and that might get sort of overburdened.
In April, Airbnb announced that its employees can work from almost anywhere without a pay cut.
So if more businesses do follow Airbnb's lead, Airbnb stands to gain in its home rental business, because that would mean more digital nomads, more people traveling, and likely booking more Airbnbs.
But some travelers are concerned about rising nightly rates, and some analysts believe that hotel chains and competitors like Expedia Group stand to gain as business travel picks up this year. So the question is, can Airbnb keep up the momentum?
We're an incredibly lean company. We've already been preparing for a storm that what we thought was inevitable for years to come.
Airbnb dramatically cut costs during the pandemic, and analysts have credited the company for keeping those down even as travel rebounded. While a potential economic downturn could decrease demand, Airbnb says it could also bring more hosts to the platform.
As the economy is going to be slowing down, I think more and more people are going to be interested in saving money, and I think they're also going to be interested in new ways to make money.
And unlike hotels with fixed properties, Airbnb can adapt quickly by spotlighting properties that serve travelers' changing needs, like it did during the switch to local travel.
I think even as we're entering a recession, people have been kind of isolated for years and they're yearning to get out. And the one thing I think you're going to see them spend money on is they're going to continue to travel.
If you've ever seen a commercial for the Home Depot, you might be familiar with this tune.
It's a good time to be a doer.
Home Depot and its theme song have inspired a wave of videos on social media, revealing its cultural status as the go-to home improvement store for many during the pandemic. Home Depot is the world's largest home improvement retailer, with over 2,300 stores across North America.
What we've seen is home price appreciation and housing activity at unprecedented levels. And what we know is that when homes become more valuable, those homeowners are more willing to spend on them.
With its 2021 fiscal year sales larger than both Lowe's and Ace Hardware combined, one of Home Depot's biggest advantages is its foothold in the professional customer space. That is, electricians, remodelers, plumbers, and other home professionals that place more lucrative orders. So how exactly has Home Depot attracted more professional customers? And what other strategies have helped it become a leader in the home improvement retail industry? This is the economics of Home Depot.
Walking into a Home Depot, you'll see a huge floor space, dozens of long aisles with everything from screws and other hardware to tools to major appliances, garden supplies, doors, windows, toilets, really anything you'd need for a home improvement project.
A typical Home Depot store stocks about 30,000 to 40,000 items throughout the year. Most locations are around 104,000 square feet. The scale of the store gives customers the opportunity to buy raw materials in bulk and pick up items quickly.
They try to be somewhere that you can go if you're just an individual trying to fix up something in your kitchen. They also try to be a place that you can go if you're a contractor trying to buy lumber to help renovate somebody's home, or if you're a plumber that needs all kinds of pipe fittings. So they really try to be a good source on both sides of that equation.
Home Depot began when co-founders Bernie Marcus and Arthur Blank were fired from a home improvement company called Handy Dan's. They wanted to launch a store that would be significantly bigger and cheaper than competitors. In 1979, they opened their first 2 Home Depot locations in Atlanta.
The Home Depot.
The founders had a vision for a home improvement retailer that could be a one-stop shop for the DIY or do-it-yourself customer.
You've never seen anything like it.
The home improvement customer to us is unique. They're a doer. That's where that word comes from.
Since its founding, Home Depot has grown into a multi-billion-dollar company that increasingly caters to the professional contractor, as well as the DIY consumer. While many industries like service and hospitality took a hit during the pandemic, Home Depot's revenue continued to grow. The pandemic fueled a boom in the home improvement industry, as people spent more time and money on remodeling projects.
Between the middle of 2020 and the middle of 2021, there were 4 straight quarters where Home Depot grew its sales by more than 20% year over year, which is a very fast pace for a large established company.
Home Depot says they are seeing increasing demand for professional projects as people feel comfortable inviting contractors back into their homes.
There's been this buildup of projects that require professionals that more recently people have been willing to get to, and that's sort of led to a second wind of sales growth.
What kind of person would come here at 5:45 a.m.? Well, there's Carly, a carpenter.
Home Depot has positioned itself to attract more business from these contractors and home professionals, particularly ones that place big orders.
Everything we do for them.
In the 2021 fiscal year, about 50% of its sales came from pro customers, even though they made up less than 10% of its customer base. In comparison, about 20 to 25% of Lowe's total sales come from pro customers, according to the company. As a key part of its pro customer strategy, Home Depot has invested $1.2 billion in expanding its supply chain and distribution network. The company says it is building 150 new distribution centers to help speed up the replenishment of store shelves and quickly deliver purchases to customers' doors. Each facility, with some as large as about 14 professional football fields, can hold a huge amount of inventory and deliver orders directly to a project site.
One thing we know that's important to our pros is delivery of product to the job site. We've shifted our model to a network of nearly 150 distribution centers that are engineered to deliver those big and bulky products that are unique to the Home Depot and unique to the pro. Think lumber, think doors, think windows, think vanities. We're designing a network that will deliver those goods same day or next day to 90% of the population in our market.
The home improvement giant's distribution network works in tandem with their online strategy, giving pro customers more flexible options that better align with busy schedules.
We're one of the largest e-commerce retailers in the country by volume. When people come to pick up orders from our lockers or from our service desk, they often shop for more products in the store. And so that's an economic flywheel that our website creates for our company.
These possibilities have really helped the company grow its sales quite a bit. Over the last 2 years, sales from e-commerce channels have gone up by about 100%, so basically doubled.
Though Home Depot has seen a long period of consistent revenue growth, the home improvement retail space remains a competitive and fragmented market.
This is a space where customers are very sensitive to prices. So if one brand is charging a higher price for a certain type of equipment, that's something that buyers could pick up on and could easily shift to another retailer. So Home Depot is definitely very sensitive to other big chains, to smaller mom and pop stores.
The industry is also sensitive to economic fluctuations, especially with spending trends tied to the housing market.
Going back to the Great Recession and the financial crisis 10 years ago, that was a very difficult time for home improvement retailers, a turbulent period for Home Depot. In the last couple of years during the pandemic, the housing market's been very strong. Certainly a company that would be in a very different position if there was some kind of big downturn in the housing market in general.
As a first responder, extrication of patients is one of the biggest challenges. It's really easy to make a bad situation worse.
UMB provides a level, smoother ride. For us, technology should be a helper to defend or to aid somebody in difficult situations.
Unless we change the nature of the way our economy works, it is all too likely that our younger generation will have a lower standard of living than their parents. What this means in reality is that workers throughout our country are struggling to pay for housing, struggling to pay for health care and prescription drugs, struggling to put food on the table, struggling to pay off their student debts, and to deal with other basic necessities of life. And while that is the reality for the working class of this country, here is another reality, and that is that the people on top have never, ever had it so good. Today in America, we have more income and wealth inequality than we have ever had, with the top 1% now owning more wealth than the bottom 90%, with CEOs now making 400 times what their workers are making, and with 3 people at the top owning more wealth than the bottom half of American society. That is the economic reality that exists today. People on top doing extraordinarily well, millions of working families struggling. And as a result of that economic reality, what we are now seeing is a major increase in trade union organizing. Throughout our country, in blue-collar jobs and in white-collar jobs, workers are standing up and they are fighting back to form unions in order to improve their wages, their benefits, and their working conditions. These workers know, as I do, that union workers earn 20% more on average than non-union workers. These workers also know, as I do, that union workers have better health care benefits, better paid family and medical leave policies, are much more likely to have a pension, and are less likely to be victims of health and safety violations compared to non-union workers. At a time when 71% of the American people now approve of unions, the highest level since 1965, there has been a major revitalization of the trade union movement in this country. Between 2021 and 2022, the number of union elections taking place in America has gone up by 53%. And since 2020, workers have voted to form a union in over 70% of union elections. Rather extraordinary. And now that is the good news for those of us who understand that strong unions are a vital part of rebuilding the declining middle class in this country. That's the good news. The bad news is that in order to combat this increase in union organizing, corporations have engaged in an unprecedented level of illegal union busting activities, which takes us to the focus of today's hearings. Over the past 18 months, Starbucks has waged the most aggressive and illegal union busting campaign in the modern history of our country. That union busting campaign has been led by Howard Schultz, the multi-billionaire founder and director of Starbucks, who is with us this morning only under the threat of subpoena. Let us be clear about the nature of Starbucks' vicious anti-union efforts. The National Labor Relations Board, NLRB, has filed over 80 complaints against Starbucks for violating federal labor law. There have been over 500 unfair labor practice charges lodged against the company, and judges have found that Starbucks broke the law 130 times across 6 states since workers began organizing in the fall of 2021. These violations include the illegal firing of more than a dozen Starbucks workers for the crime of exercising their right to form a union and to collectively bargain for better wages, benefits, and working conditions. Since the first Starbucks union was certified more than 450 days ago in Buffalo, workers at more than 360 stores across 40 states have held union elections. 83% of these elections have resulted in a union victory, and today nearly 300 Starbucks coffee shops employing more than 7,000 workers have a union, despite Starbucks' aggressive anti-union efforts. But with nearly 300 shops voting to form a union, Starbucks has refused to sign a single first contract with the union. Not a single one. Think about that. Think about a multi-billion-dollar company with unlimited resources, with all kinds of lawyers, advisors, consultants, and yet they have not yet signed one contract with any of their nearly 300 unionized shops. Just a few weeks ago, on March 1st, an administrative law judge found Starbucks guilty of, quote, egregious and widespread misconduct, end quote, which showed, quote, a general disregard for the employee's fundamental rights, end quote. In a 220-page ruling, this judge found that Starbucks illegally retaliated against employees for unionizing, promised improved pay and benefits if workers rejected the union, conducted illegal surveillance of pro-union workers, refused to hire prospective employees who supported the union, relocated union organizers to new stores, and overstaffed stores ahead of union votes, all clear violations of federal labor law. The judge also found that Starbucks, quote, widespread coercive behavior over 6 months had permeated every store in the Buffalo market, end quote. The judge ordered Starbucks to reinstate 7 workers who were wrongfully terminated, reopen a pro-union store in Buffalo that was illegally shut down, and pay, quote, reasonable consequential damages, end quote, to more than 2 dozen Starbucks workers whose rights were violated by the company. And let us be clear, Starbucks' egregious union-busting campaign is not limited to Buffalo. It is happening all over America. Federal courts in Tennessee and Michigan have issued emergency injunctions requiring Starbucks to reinstate workers who were illegally fired and to prohibit the coffee chain from firing workers for supporting unionization efforts in the future. In Scottsdale and Phoenix, Arizona, the NLRB has charged Starbucks with committing 8 violations of labor law when it disciplined, fired, and forced out workers because they cooperated with federal investigations. On November 30th of last year, the NLRB found that Starbucks unlawfully refused to recognize and bargain with the union at its Reserve Roastery store in Seattle. NLRB judges have found that Starbucks illegally threatened to withhold benefits, including health insurance, from pro-union workers in Denver, Overland Park, Kansas, Seattle, Washington, and Ann Arbor, Michigan. The pattern in all of these stores is clear. On one hand, we have workers making $13, $14, $15 an hour with minimal benefits, working 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week, maybe 40 hours a week, depending on a totally unpredictable schedule dictated by their managers. And these workers are out there struggling today to achieve dignity and justice on the job. That's what they are trying to do, and I applaud their efforts. And on the other hand, we have a corporation worth some $113 billion, largely controlled by an individual worth some $4 billion, who are using their unlimited resources to do everything possible, legal and illegal, to deny these workers their constitutional right to form a union. The fundamental issue we are confronting today is whether we have a system of justice that applies to all, or whether billionaires and large corporations can break the law with impunity. I have read Mr. Schultz's comments to the media, in which he expresses his strong anti-union views. As an American, Mr. Schultz is entitled to those views and any other views he holds. But even if he is a multi-billionaire and the head of a giant corporation, he is not entitled to break the law. So today I will be asking Mr. Schultz whether he will do what an administrative law judge has ordered him to do, and that is to record and distribute a 14-page notice which states that Starbucks has violated federal labor law, to inform Starbucks employees all across this country about their rights under the National Labor Relations Act, how Starbucks has violated those rights, and to assure that Starbucks will not infringe upon those rights in the future. In other words, I will be asking Mr. Schultz whether or not he intends to obey the law. Further, I will be asking Mr. Schultz another question, and that is whether or not he is prepared to promise this committee that within 14 days of this hearing, Starbucks will exchange proposals with the union, something that it has refused to do for more than 450 days, so that meaningful progress can be made to bargain a first contract in good faith. And let me conclude by saying that what is outrageous to me is not only Starbucks' anti-union activities and their willingness to break the law, it is their calculated and intentional efforts to stall, and to stall. They understand that the turnover rate at Starbucks and many other similar type companies is high. They understand that if workers do not see success in gaining a contract, they are going to get discouraged and give up the fight. At a time when we want, in this difficult time in our country, for people to stand up and fight for their rights, to try to destroy the spirit of thousands and thousands of people who are fighting for justice, that, to my mind, is unforgivable. Senator Cassidy.
Thank you, Chairman Sanders. Workers have a right to organize. Now, some may disagree as to whether the protections for workers who choose to organize should also apply to workers who choose not to organize. That's my position, but examining this nuance is not an issue here. The title of today's hearing is "No Company is Above the Law, the Need to End Illegal Union Busting at Starbucks." Now, that clearly presumes that Mr. Schultz and his former employee are guilty before the allegations are fully investigated. The title suggests that this hearing is not a good faith effort to get at the facts. It's a smear campaign against an individual and a company based upon allegations that everyone knows are still under litigation. I am not here to defend Starbucks. I have my own questions about the alleged misconduct, and the law should be followed and upheld. I agree with the chair, no one is above the law. But let's not kid ourselves. This is not a fair and impartial hearing. Now, it's not surprising that Mr. Schultz was reluctant to testify. When the majority is using the title of the hearing to slander the witness we're asking to testify, it sends a signal. The majority points to claims of Starbucks misconduct filed at the National Labor Relations Board to justify today's hearing. These allegations should be addressed and they should be investigated, period. But it would be malpractice for this committee to not also acknowledge that NLRB is currently facing its own credibility crisis. The NLRB confirmed there are 4 separate allegations of NLRB employee interference, 3 in which the employer was Starbucks, pending before the board. It begs the question, are NLRB employees weaponizing the agency against American employers to benefit politically connected labor unions? The National Labor Relations Act was passed to provide an unbiased framework to review disputes between employers and employees. The NLRB carries out the law and is required to protect the rights of all parties in a labor dispute, not put their thumb on the scale in favor of unions. But that is not what we appear to be seeing in practice. An NLRB hearing officer recently substantiated reports of voting irregularities in a union election at a Starbucks in Kansas that could potentially elevate to the level of misconduct by NLRB employees. This includes NLRB staff providing duplicate ballots, supplying union organizers with confidential voter information, providing voter accommodations to employees selected by the union without offering them to all employees. Regardless of the outcome, these actions are in direct violation of federal law and NLRB written guidelines. Now today, we'll hear from former Congressman Bradley Byrne. He is representing the brave whistleblower who brought this misconduct and weaponization of the agency to light. He'll be able to provide more insight into how the NLRB is operating in violation of its own practices and a procedure in a way which favors labor unions. Let's be clear, and one more time, workers have a legal right to unionize. Companies cannot break the law to prevent unionization. Similarly, unions should not be allowed to intimidate workers into unionizing through coercion or by banning secret ballot elections, which the Supreme Court has stated, quote, indeed the preferred, end quote, method to gauge worker support of unionization. This is a conversation this committee can have and will continue to have. But the bottom line is that a federal agency has no right to break the law to advance a political agenda. And this should be something that our committee investigates on a bipartisan basis. If the committee is going to properly investigate concerns over labor relations at Starbucks, we should also investigate alleged misconduct of the agency that sought to influence the union representation process. At last week's hearing, I said we should thoughtfully examine legitimate policy issues, not hold show trials for public shaming. Today looks like more of what we saw last week. There are important bipartisan things the committee needs to accomplish. We need to work together on real solutions to issues facing American families, like the high cost of prescription drugs, getting Americans back to work, driving down inflation that is choking economic growth. Instead, we put CEOs on the dock, but instead of a cage in which the prisoner was formerly kept, is a desk in front of the committee where a judgment has already been made. Thank you, and I look forward to today's testimony.
Thank you, Senator Cassidy. We will now turn to our witness. Mr. Howard Schultz is the former longtime Chief Executive Officer of Starbucks and a member of the Starbucks Board of Directors. Mr. Schultz, you may proceed with your testimony.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Chairman Sanders, Ranking Member Cassidy, and Senators of the committee. I'm pleased to be here this morning and tell the entrepreneurial story of Starbucks and how we have carried the American flag to 84 countries around the world. My vision for Starbucks Coffee Company has always been steeped in humanity, respect, and shared success. It's a vision that was inspired by the struggles of my father, a World War II veteran who slipped on a sheet of ice in 1960 and was promptly fired from his job as a delivery driver. It fractured our family and it deeply scarred me. I decided at an early age that if I was ever in a position to run a business, it would be based on respect and shared success. With my one-year term as Starbucks interim CEO having come to a close, I appear before you today with love and gratitude for what we have built at Starbucks over these last 40 years. The essential operating approach at Starbucks since 1987, when we had just 11 stores, has focused on values-based decisions. We've always believed that if we exceed the expectations of our people, they in turn will exceed the expectations of our customers. We call our employees partners. This is a very important point to share with the committee, because since 1991, we established shared ownership for every single person at Starbucks, full and part-time. Unprecedented. More than 30 years ago, before the company's IPO, Starbucks created 2 unprecedented benefits for our partners. It was the first of its kind in all of American business, never done before. Starbucks Beanstalk program, a stock equity program, and access to health care almost 25 years before the Affordable Care Act for full and part-time workers who work 20 hours a week. My written testimony has details on the benefits and opportunities we've created for our people over the past 40 years. This represents decades of work striving to build a different kind of company that lifts our customers and gives our partners a chance at a better life. According to Aon, one of the most respected benefits and HR consultancies in the country, this is their voice, not ours. There's literally no company in our competitive set of retail that offers higher value benefits than Starbucks in the United States. And Senators, we did this by building a direct relationship with our partners, built on trust and shared success, based on a 40-year track record of benefits and actions to create opportunity. Today, baristas in our stores earn on average $17.50. Respectfully, that's more than the minimum wage of every senator that's represented a state on this committee, including, respectfully, Chairman Sanders, where the minimum wage in Vermont is $13.18. We're at $17.50. with benefits and other income included, such as 100% paid college tuition, the first of its kind in American business, comprehensive health insurance, and Beanstalk equity, the average value approaches $27 an hour. And what I'm most proud of is today 63% of our retail managers started out as hourly baristas, underscoring the opportunity we provide for shared growth and success, and our employee retention is twice the industry average. Let me repeat. Employee retention at Starbucks is twice the industry average. And throughout our history, we have addressed the issues most critical and most important to our people, including pay equity, paid sick leave, fully paid parental leave, support of our partner networks, financial literacy, sustainability, hiring military veterans and their spouses, over 30,000 to date, partnering on food security, and offering industry-leading mental health support. The vision and track record and ongoing pathway for employees has led our industry. A small number of our partners, about 1%, have chosen a different approach, as is their right under law. And while we care deeply about each and every one of our partners, we are limited by law in what we can unilaterally do in union environments. We are 100% committed to fulfilling our obligations as an employer under the National Labor Relations Act, and are committed to good faith negotiations on first contracts for each unionized store. A year ago, I came back to Starbucks as interim CEO and concluded that assignment last week. While not a one-year fix, we are back on the right path and have demonstrated that by $1.4 billion of employee-facing investments that we made this year. Every day, we wake up thinking about how we can put our people first, put them in a position to win, and do everything we can to demonstrate the conscience, the heart, and the values of Starbucks Coffee Company. That has been the Starbucks way for the last 40 years, since 1987, when we had 11 stores and 100 employees. With that, I welcome your questions.
Mr. Schultz, thank you very much. My time is limited, as is the time of all of our members here. So I'm going to be asking you to respond to each question as briefly as you can, hopefully with a yes or a no. Do you understand that in America, workers have a fundamental right to join a union and collectively bargain to improve wages, benefits, and working conditions? Do you understand that?
I understand, and we respect the right of every partner who wears a green apron, whether they choose to join a union or not.
Are you aware that NLRB judges have ruled that Starbucks violated federal labor law over 100 times during the past 18 months, far more than any other corporation in America?
Sir, Starbucks Coffee Company unequivocally, and let me set the tone for this very early on, has not broken the law.
Okay. Are you aware that on March 1st, 2023, an administrative law judge found Starbucks guilty of, quote, egregious and widespread misconduct, end quote, widespread coercive behavior, and showed, quote, a general disregard for the employees' fundamental rights, end quote, in a union organizing campaign that started in Buffalo, New York in 2021. Are you aware of that?
I'm aware that those are allegations, and Congress has created a process that we are following, and we're confident that those allegations will be proven false.
All right. Mr. Schultz, before answering the following questions, let me remind you that federal law at 18 U.S. Code Section 1001 prohibits knowingly and willfully making any fraudulent statement.
I understand that.
Were you ever informed of or involved in a decision to fire a worker who was part of a union organizing drive?
I was not.
Were you ever informed of or involved in a decision to discipline a worker in any way who was part of a union organizing drive?
I was not.
Have you ever threatened, coerced, or intimidated a worker for supporting a union?
I've had conversations that could have been interpreted in a different way than I intended. That's up to the person who received the information that I spoke to him about.
Were you informed of or involved in the decision to withhold benefits from Starbucks workers in unionized stores, including higher pay and faster sick time accrual?
My understanding, when we created the benefits in May, 1 month after I returned as CEO, my understanding was under the law, we did not have the unilateral right to provide those benefits to employees who were interested in joining a union.
Am I hearing you say that you were involved in the decision to withhold benefits from Starbucks workers in unionized stores? Is that what I'm hearing?
It was my understanding that we could not provide those benefits under the law.
Mr. Silch, have you ever asked a Starbucks worker, quote, if you hate Starbucks so much, why don't you go work somewhere else?
I'm glad you asked that question because I've read in the press that quote, and that's not exactly what I said. Can I tell the story? Do you mind?
I have some other questions. I'm sorry. There are a lot of people.
I think it's important to hear the facts.
All right, you'll have your chance. Will you commit to testifying in any trial where you personally are accused of breaking federal labor law, something that you have been accused of doing nearly 100 times since 2021?
Mr. Chairman, let me say under oath, these are allegations and Starbucks has not broken the law.
Okay. Mr. Schultz, were you informed of or involved in the decision to close all Buffalo area stores in November 2021, just days before area union elections, in order for Starbucks employees to listen to you give a speech on why they should vote against forming a union, a meeting the NLRB has determined was a violation of the law?
I think this is another area that I hope I get a chance to speak about. For the last 12 months, my involvement, my engagement, and my return to Starbucks has been primarily, I would say 95%, focused on the operations of our business, the customer, domestically and around the world. My involvement and engagement in union activities, despite this event today, has been de minimis. I was not involved in any issue of closing stores.
Are you aware, Mr. Schultz, that an administrative law judge ordered you to record and distribute a video of yourself reading a notice to Starbucks employees about their rights under the National Labor Relations Act, how Starbucks violated those rights, and to assure that Starbucks will not infringe upon those rights in the future, and that this notice must be posted in all Starbucks stores and shared digitally to all of Starbucks employees? Are you prepared to read that notice?
No, I am not, because Starbucks Coffee Company did not break the law.
Under your leadership, Starbucks has repeatedly refused to bargain with any of the 7,000 workers in nearly 300 stores where workers have voted to represent themselves through a union. The first group of workers to win their election have been waiting more than 460 days to reach a first contract. Mr. Schultz, will you commit right now that within 14 days of this hearing, Starbucks will exchange proposals with the union, something it has refused to do for more than 450 days, so that meaningful progress can be made to bargain a first contract in good faith? Will you make that commitment?
Because the arrangement that was made by the union and the NLRB in Buffalo to negotiate one single store at a time, we have met over 85 times for a single store. We've tried to arrange over 350 separate meetings. We've said publicly, and I say it here again, that we believe that face-to-face negotiations is the way to proceed. And the reason I want to make that point is that there have been safety issues in which Starbucks managers have been outed on social media. There are privacy issues. We don't want to do it on Zoom. We are prepared to meet face-to-face on a single store issue.
Will you make a promise to this committee that you will exchange proposals with the union so that we can begin to make meaningful progress?
On a single store basis, we will continue to negotiate in good faith. That's what we'll do.
2 minutes over.
Senator Cassidy.
I defer to Senator Paul.
Ayn Rand's Howard Roark points out the ingratitude that man has for the entrepreneur, the creator. Thousands of years ago, the first man discovered how to make fire. He was probably burnt at the stake he taught the others to light. But he left them a gift that had not been conceived, and he lifted darkness from the face of the earth. Now, Starbucks didn't exactly discover fire, but Starbucks did somehow, somewhere discover in the depths of man's soul that he would pay as much for a double mocha latte as he once did for a week's worth of coffee. My wife Kelly and I tried to get my grandparents some fancy coffee once, and my grandfather, a survivor of the Depression, informed us in no uncertain terms that he drank Maxwell House, $3.99 for a week's worth of coffee. The Pauls, although German, often missed the zeitgeist of the times, and so while we continue to purchase Maxwell House, others, our contemporaries, bought Starbucks stock and did much better than we did. Who knew people would pay $6 for a cup of coffee? But I digress. Convincing the public to buy very expensive coffee is not the discovery of fire, but still it deserves respect. Instead, Congress convenes today not to praise Starbucks, but to bury them. The hearing today is convened to attack a private company for its success, when its success has benefited both customers and its employees alike. We've heard of the average wages, over $17. We've heard of the 401k plans. We've heard of the parental leave, even for part-time employees. Starbucks giving away tens of millions of dollars each year. They have 100% tuition and fee for a bachelor's degree. Maybe it doesn't sound like too bad a place to work. Starbucks is among the most charitable companies in the country. Since 2016, they've had a program to give away unused food to feed over 5 million hungry families. Starbucks didn't do all this under orders from a government bureau. They did it because capitalism works. We have more charity when we have more money, when we have more success, when we have more profit. Nobody buys $6 coffee in impoverished nations. We're an extraordinarily rich nation. Marion Tupy and Gail Pooley wrote a book called Superabundance. They say we live in an era of superabundance. Starbucks can only exist in an era of superabundance. The average calorie count since when I was born was about 2,800. It's gone up to 3,700. Many would argue you have too much food. You can buy 7 times as much food for the same amount of worker hours. If you measure stuff in time prices, how many hours of the average worker it takes to buy something, it's extraordinary how wealthy we are. Even in inflation-adjusted terms, from 1960 to today, 1950 to today, the average income, inflation-adjusted, is up 4-fold. These are all extraordinary tales. This is also an extraordinary tale of a company that started out of nothing and employs tens of thousands of people, all making great wages. And we're here to say as if this is like, Charles Dickens. I mean, we think it's 1812. I mean, it's an amazing success story we live in, the era of superabundance. In 1820, 96% of people lived on less than $2 a day. Adjusted for inflation, you know how much of the world lives that way? Less than 10%. Trade, capitalism, profit. People all the time are talking about, we want sustainable this and sustainable that. You know what's sustainable? Capitalism and profit and employment. You want to put all the Starbucks workers in the government dole? You want to have a government coffee company? What are we talking about here? If you don't want their coffee, be like my family and buy Maxwell House. But for goodness sakes, don't deride one of the great American success stories. This is not who we are. We are better than this. If the goal is to destroy the goose that laid the golden egg, then by all means, this hearing is a good beginning. For me, I see the fabulous success of Starbucks, and I understand that the luxury to spend an extraordinary amount of money for a cup of coffee is a testament to capitalism. It's a testament to the fact that we have enough money that we can do that. When I walk in Starbucks, I don't see billionaires buying coffee. I see everyone from top to bottom in there paying for the coffee because they've decided the quality is worth it. But I don't want to be part of any witch hunt that vilifies any American business, so count me out. Count me as one who is ecstatic that Starbucks is an American success story, and I'll have no part in trashing their success.
Thank you. Senator Hickenlooper, you have to preside soon, so you ask the first questions.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, Ranking Member. Mr. Schultz, I appreciate you coming before us, and I realize that you've spent your life creating one of the most successful brands in American history. You mentioned the long-held aspiration to make Starbucks a company that balances profitability with social conscience, and I think that brand is exceedingly attractive, especially to young people, and I think it's part of your success. I think in many ways, the ability of Starbucks to attract young workers and have them believe in the brand and the vision is a big part of that success, which I think is part of what this group believes is that the partnership between the company and the workers is a key to success for any successful company. Many folks who work at Starbucks came because they wanted a chance to work for a company that prioritizes earnings and benefits, wellness, and your testimony described in some detail that you're near the top of that ladder. But we also heard over the last few weeks from other workers, some from Colorado, who told us they came to work for the partner-centric model but were disappointed because they wanted that opportunity to be part of a union, and told us that disillusionment has been very hard for them. So I guess the question I would ask first is that appearance that so many of the employees have of that their organizing efforts are being interfered with seems at odds with the commitment to the partner model and the worker welfare. So how do you respond to those workers who appreciate the Starbucks model but would like to be able to organize with less confrontation?
Well, thank you for the question and the opportunity to answer that, without some of the propaganda that has been floating around. I've built my life trying to create a company that values every single person with dignity and respect who puts on the green apron. That has not changed as a result of 1%, 3,400 people out of 250,000 who want to join a union. We've said it publicly, we respect the law, we respect their right, and we want to treat everyone with respect and dignity. However, I have the right, and the company has the right to have a preference. And our preference is to maintain the direct relationship we've had with our employees that we call partners. And we have a track record that demonstrates the values that we have shown and the value that we have created. But we maintain a level of respect for everyone who wears the green apron.
Thank you. There's been considerable questions about the shrinking middle class. I'm not asking you to be an economist in this sense, although you clearly know more about economics than I will ever know. But when you look at the charts, and we've got a chart behind me that demonstrates that as the middle class has shrunken and as income inequality has increased dramatically, it has directly coincided with the decline in unions. And I certainly respect the desire to be directly connected with all your employees. But in many ways, that right to organize and that opportunity for people to be part of a union is a crucial building block for the middle class that I think gave this country stability that we don't see in the same way that we used to. At its core, I think union organizing is about having a greater say in their workplace. And I think everybody always wants that. Some of the studies show that entrepreneurs start new businesses not necessarily to make money, but to have someone bossing them around. So what do you say to the workers who want to join together with their peers to unionize their workplaces, despite however great Starbucks has been for them?
I've said before, and I want to repeat it, I think unions have served an important role in American business for many years. And if you look at the 50s and the 60s, unions generally were working on behalf of people in a company where those people have not been treated fairly, where there's been in some cases, nefarious acts by the employer taking advantage of the employee. I can only say in my own company, based on the track record that we've had, we do not believe, and it's our preference, that we are that kind of company. We treat our people fairly. We do nothing that is nefarious. We put our people first. We make decisions based on our people, and we have the track record to prove it. Starbucks is probably one of the best, if not the best, first job in America. As I said in my opening statement, 65% of baristas are now managers. I walked into a store an hour ago, just at 24th and M, just walked in, was met by a guy named Nico, never met him before. 22 years with Starbucks, and he tells me his story. He came from Senegal. He's an American citizen, started as a barista, became a manager, district manager. And the thing that he wanted me to know, this is an hour ago, is I bought a house and I have a car and I raised 2 kids because of beanstalk at Starbucks. Now you put that overall, in the last 15, 20 years, over $2 billion of equity because of beanstalk, 14% of people's
Senator
base
Hickenlooper,
pay.
your time has expired. So.
But it's an important point, $2 billion of equity because of everyone being an owner of
Senator
Starbucks has gone
Cassidy.
back to our employees. It's unprecedented. And that's why Starbucks doesn't need a union.
Senator Cassidy.
Mr. Chairman, I will respectfully notice that you took 7 minutes on yours, so Mr. Schultz should have been allowed to finish his statement.
Mr. Schultz will have as much time as he needs to respond to the questions of 15 people. Senator Cassidy.
I defer to Senator Romney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member Cassidy. I recognize at the outset there's some irony to a non-coffee drinking Mormon conservative defending a Democrat candidate for president in perhaps one of the most liberal companies in America. That being said, I also think it's somewhat rich that that you're being grilled by people who have never had the opportunity to create a single job, and yet they believe that they know better how to do so, and what's best for the American worker, and what's best for the American economy, what's best for growth. I also think it's rich to not recognize the extraordinary conflict of interest we have, which is our Democrat colleagues overwhelmingly get their campaign funds from unions, and therefore would like to find every possible way to extend unions, even if an enterprise feels that it's in their best interest to pursue a different course. Now, I know that there are a number of reasons why you might wish not to have union organization in your various enterprises. At the same time, I agree with Senator Cassidy and with your own comments, Mr. Schultz, which is that people have a legal right to form a union. There are some employers that are not good employers, and a union is necessary to protect the rights of those individuals, and that if any enterprise, including yours, has broken the law, that it should be held accountable for having done so. At the same time, there are legitimate reasons why an enterprise might choose not to become unionized. I first would note that within your company, there are probably some stores that are union, some that are non-union. Do the non-union store employees get paid less than the union store employees?
The starting wage has been the same. The only difference is the benefits that we created in May. And my understanding under the law is that we were not allowed to provide those benefits to people who are organizing to join a union.
And so, in fact, that non-union stores are actually a little better total package than the union stores. Let me ask you another question, which is make another point, and that is, I would understand why you would not want to have an adversarial relationship between the store manager and the employees that work there. I'd also understand that sometimes in some union enterprises, there are work rules that prevent someone from going from let's say, a barista to becoming a manager. And you've indicated that, if you will, career opportunities for people are enhanced when they're able to move from position to position and become a manager. Is that a concern of yours?
No, I mean, can I tell one story?
Please.
If I can? And it happens to be in the state of Vermont. And I think this is indicative of the situation that we are currently experiencing. There's 7 stores in the state of Vermont that Starbucks has. Of the 7, one of them voted to join a union. This is important fact. 21 Starbucks people, partners, work in that store. How many people do you think voted to either become a union or not a union? Take a guess.
Got me. I would presume the
Well,
majority.
I think when you hear the number, you'll understand the problem. 21 people in the store, 6 people voted. 6. 4 voted to become a union, and 2 voted for not. Now, I'm not saying why the other people didn't vote. That's up to the committee to decide. But you can imagine there's issues going on in a store like that where people work close together and influence people to do one thing versus the other. But here's the problem. Since 6 people voted to the union, of the 7 stores in Vermont, this particular store has twice the level of attrition, and the majority of the people have left the store. And the tension that exists in any store that Starbucks has, since it's individual stores voting in a small group of people, there is lots of issues that we are dealing with. And overall, in the stores that have voted for union, about 300 are twice the level of attrition that we currently have in the 99% of stores that have not voted for union. But the Vermont thing is not a proxy. The Vermont thing is exactly what's going on around the country.
Thank you. I appreciate that perspective, and would just turn to one other point, which is we talk about corporate greed all the time as if it's something brand new. Of course, profit incentive and greed has been there from the beginning of humankind. But there's also union greed. Greed exists throughout our society through various enterprises. But let me ask, your company's highly profitable. It was profitable, I presume, very early on, became profitable as time went on. Where does all that profit go? Does it go to all pay you and the senior executives? Where does the profit go of an enterprise? Did it all go out in dividends or stock buybacks? Where has your profit gone over the history of your company?
The majority of profits that Starbucks has made has gone back into infrastructure, roasting plants, $800,000 to $1 million to build a store. The profits of the company have gone back to the business. Now, what's most important, though, is when we create shareholder value, as we have for Starbucks through the years, our employees, our partners, are sharing our shared success model in that profit because everyone has been an owner. And the first day that I came back, April 4th, 2022, the first day, what did I do? The one thing that would get shareholders across the country who own Starbucks stock angry with Howard Schultz, and that is I stopped our buyback program on the first day. Our stock went down. I was not concerned about that, and I took that money and I invested it right back into our people, which resulted in higher wages 1 month after I came back. Now, that is the only evidence I have, which is the fact that my operating style, which has been 40 years, is to build a company that balances profitability with a level of shared success for our people. And we have the evidence to prove it, sir.
Senator Murray.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Schultz, for coming before the committee. I appreciate it. I've listened carefully, and throughout your testimony, you've made it very clear that Starbucks prefers its workers not to be unionized. But I think you know that decision is up to workers under federal law. I just have been disappointed, I have to tell you, from a number of my constituents I've been hearing from about some of the widespread anti-union efforts at Starbucks, including in Washington State, where the NLRB has certified 19 elections, as you know, at Starbucks stores. They have issued 71 complaints covering 31 unfair labor practice charges, and NLRB judges have issued 2 decisions now finding that Starbucks violated federal law. So let me just ask you a simple question. Do you agree that it is workers who get to decide whether they want a union?
Senator Murray, I agree that the person at Starbucks has the right under the law to decide whether or not they want to join a union, and Starbucks Coffee Company also has the legal right to provide a vision for our employees, which currently represent 99% of the 250,000 who wear the green apron, that our vision is a preference to maintain our direct relationship. And in terms of what you said, as I said to Chairman Sanders, those are allegations, and Starbucks Coffee Company unequivocally has not broken the law.
Let me just share with you, and I heard you answer Senator Hickenlooper with treating your employees with dignity and respect,
Yes.
which I appreciate. But I am hearing from a number of folks really troubling reports about Starbucks refusing to allow credit card tipping, cutting employee hours, holding the loss of critical benefits like health care, insurance and gender-affirming care over the heads of employees who are trying to exercise their rights. And I've even heard reports, so you know, about uncertainty for union employees about whether or not they would receive abortion travel benefits, which all your workers receive. I'm concerned when I hear from my constituents about unfair threats of any kind or denying benefits unfairly, even when the union agrees to waive its right to bargain. I would assume you would agree that that doesn't constitute treating someone with dignity or respect if they are being threatened.
Senator Murray, you and I have known each other for quite a while, you being the senator of our home state. I think you have many times actually talked about Starbucks as a model employer in many of the meetings that you've had and speeches that you've given. I do take offense, I have to admit, because it's quite personal when you bring up things that you've heard that are not true. We have never, ever taken any benefit away, and we never would, of anyone who was interested in joining a union. We simply have said that under the law, our understanding is we did not have the right to provide incremental benefits during the bargaining process. But Howard Schultz, the leadership team of Starbucks, the board of directors, some of whom are here today, would never take benefits away of any kind of someone who was involved in trying to join a union.
Well, thank you for the answer. I'm giving you the question, so you have a right to respond. That's why I'm asking. Okay. But you should know that those are some of the things that I hear, and I wanted to hear your response.
Yeah. Okay.
And I've also heard allegations that Starbucks has interfered with employees' ability to testify, including in Seattle, where an administrative law judge found that Starbucks did that. Can you respond to that charge?
I have no knowledge of that, Senator Murray.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Cassidy.
I defer to Senator Tuberville.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Cassidy. Ms. Schultz, thank you for being here. Thank you. I know this is pretty tough at times, but it's good to hear your side of the story. I came from the coaching profession. For years I talked to young kids every year at the beginning of the year about they all wanted and needed something. I always told them one thing: only thing you get from me and from this country is an opportunity. And you took that opportunity and ran with it. And you've got a lot of people that work for you over the years and work for your company and their company and made something out of themselves. So thank you for that. You've been a huge idol for this country in terms of what you've done. We've heard a lot about what you give to your employees, health care and all that. I fully support unions. If people want to join a union, that's fine. I think that's what this country is about. Sounds like Starbucks employees as a whole, what we've heard so far, have had a great working environment. I understand collective bargaining processes have ongoing with almost 300 individual stores, and you have to negotiate with each one of these individuals in each store, each individual, not each store. And I know that there have been difficulties in trying to navigate these individual negotiations. I'm sure obstacles have come up that are unique to each store. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, you want to be respectful, as we all do, of requests of any employee, and you want to make sure that every person or group that you deal with feels that their rights are being respected and their voices heard. This could even include employees with specific rights and protections in workplace. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I know this has been a long process that requires considerable effort on your side to do all this. So can you speak to me about the difficulties that you've been having in bargaining processes, specifically in the unique issues that your average person might not understand?
Yeah, thank you very much for that. When Buffalo first emerged, and there was a process to try and decide whether or not we were going to negotiate per individual store or by district or region, it was the position of the union to have it one store at a time. That created significant complications and obstacles in the collective bargaining process. We now have to be put in a position to negotiate individual store, one by one, across the country, and set up individual meetings. Now, because in this process, Starbucks managers and district managers have had safety issues in which the union organizers have been at their home, They have been outed on social media that have been significant challenges for our people to maintain their personal safety. We have said we do not want these meetings to be anything but face-to-face, so we know who's in the room. We don't know if there's a Zoom meeting of who is taping the meeting, who's in the background, and who is looking in on the meeting, and whether or not they are part of the company, part of the union, or whatever. And so we have asked respectfully, we will show up as we have 85 separate times in a face-to-face meeting, and we've tried to set up over 365 meetings. It is a very difficult scheduling issue and very difficult logistics issue. And we should not be held accountable for not showing up when all we're asking for is face-to-face bargaining.
Thank you. I'd like to hear your story about your employee, if you'd tell. You got about a minute and a half. About the employee that you had the discussion.
This morning?
That you had the argument about. You might want to go
okay,
somewhere
thank
else
you for that.
Yeah.
When I came back to Starbucks, I held about 100 co-creation collaborative meetings across the country to understand from our employees what they were experiencing and the challenges of a post-COVID environment on their life at home, on their work life, work balance, et cetera. Those meetings were not about union negotiations. In fact, we made it clear, we're not here to talk about the union, we're here to talk about Starbucks. In a meeting in Long Beach, a Starbucks partner was trying to interrupt the meeting and start talking about the union. She happened to be sitting next to me. I didn't know she was recording it, I didn't know she was filming it, but it was clear that there was a disruptive mentality. I just turned to her and I said, if you don't like the company, if you hate the company, you could work somewhere else. It was not a threat. And going back to Chairman Sanders' question before, I can understand she may have misinterpreted what I said. It wasn't a threat. I didn't know I was being filmed. I just simply said, if you hate the company, you could go work somewhere else. Those 100 sessions that I attended are based on what we've done to improve the company, to understand the empathy and compassion we need to have for our people in a post-COVID environment. They were not union meetings. They were meetings to discuss Starbucks and the opportunity for our people. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Casey.
Mr. Chairman, thanks very much, and thanks for calling the hearing. Mr. Schultz, welcome, and I want to welcome the workers in this room who have had to do so much, expend so much effort over many years to have the right to organize and bargain collectively, so we stand with you in that effort. I think that's a right that every single worker in the United States of America should have, the right to bargain collectively, to organize for wages and benefits. And too often in our country, workers don't have that right. I represent a state where workers over generations marched and mobilized and literally bled and died for the right to organize. It wasn't conferred upon them by some CEO or some boss. They had to fight for it, and that resulted, of course, in the National Labor Relations Act, which is still in effect, still the law of the land, despite repeated corporate attempts to undermine it. So we have a lot to talk about, not just with regard to Starbucks, but for workers generally. I wanted to start, Mr. Schultz, with a discussion about one of the firms that Starbucks hired. I'm told that during your tenure as CEO, you hired Littler Mendelson, one of the largest and most notorious union-busting firms in the country, that reportedly charges upwards of $600 an hour for their services. It's been reported that in 2021, Starbucks shut down all stores in the Buffalo area, rented out the Hyatt Regency Hotel, flew you, Mr. Schultz, and Starbucks senior executives into town and forced workers to hear you give anti-union talking points. While Starbucks refuses to say how much they've spent on anti-union efforts, it's clear the company is willing to spend a significant amount of money on union-busting tactics. And guess what? Under current law, federal law, Internal Revenue Service law, Starbucks is able to write off those costs as a run-of-the-mill business expense, meaning taxpayers are subsidizing union busting in the United States of America, including that of Starbucks. So, Mr. Schultz, I'd ask you, as a private citizen, in your personal capacity, do you believe that corporations should have the right to get a tax break, a taxpayer-provided subsidization, a tax break for union busting activities?
Senator Casey, you've said a number of things I'd like to respond to, but...
Well, just answer that question first.
No, I will. I mean, Starbucks Coffee Company is following the tax laws and the law that Congress has
I didn't
set
ask
up.
you about Starbucks. I asked you about your personal view.
Yeah.
Do you think that provision should stay as the law or should be changed?
My personal view is we should follow the law that Congress has set up.
Do you support that?
I support the law.
You support the provision that allows a company to hire union-busting firms and conduct other activity that interferes with the rights of workers to organize. I understand it's the law, but you're saying you support it. You would not support a change. Is that correct?
I support the law, and I also take offense with you categorizing me or Starbucks as a union buster when that is not true.
Well, look, you go to just March of this year. Administrative law judge issued a 218-page decision finding, quote, egregious and widespread misconduct demonstrating a general disregard for the employee's fundamental rights, unquote, in Buffalo, New York. So I think there's plenty of evidence on the record in terms of what the National Labor Relations Board has set forth in their opinions and their work. Let me ask you another question before my time has expired. There have been complaints, and I want you to answer this if you know anything about it, that Starbucks is spying on its workers as they try to organize. Again, another National Labor Relations Board administrative law judge recently wrote that Starbucks used headsets to, quote, closely supervise, monitor, and create the impression that employees' union activities are under surveillance. So we've heard about this with regard to other companies. Do you believe, and again, this is in your personal capacity, and you realize where you are now, do you believe that workers should have the basic dignity at work not to be surveilled by their employers?
Senator, I am incredibly proud of how we treat Starbucks partners and have since 1987.
I understand you're
I'm not
proud.
aware of anyone surveilling anyone at Starbucks.
You're not aware of that?
I am not.
Do you support that?
No, I would not support that.
Thank you, Mr.
Can I come back and just address something you said, if you don't mind? You talked about Buffalo. I just want to clarify. From what I understand, the activities in Buffalo began in August of 21. I was not the CEO at the time. I came back in April of 22. But I want to share with the committee what we have found out about the organizing in Buffalo. And I think this is important for everyone to know. The organizing in Buffalo began with an individual who we later found out was paid for and joined Starbucks as an employee in 2020. And even though we hired her on her own merit, we found out that she was paid for by the very union trying to organize Starbucks.
I'm going to have to cut you off. Senator.
That was a good story. We'll come back to that because it sounds like something to do.
I hope you do.
I'll defer to Senator Mark Wayne Muller.
Well, thank you. And considering the chairman doesn't want to hear any of that information, because I believe he's pretty biased in his opinion already, Mr. Schultz, I'll give you an opportunity to finish that if you'll do it quickly.
Thank you very much. So, as you might imagine, we're very curious to understand what happened in Buffalo. And we later found out that this individual, which was hired in 2020, was paid for and under the employment of the union that was basically trying to organize Starbucks. We later found out there was more than one person. And so you might want to ask yourself, where's the fairness, the objectivity, and the integrity of what we're talking about here today?
No, and I mean, if you're anti-union as a CEO, you're anti-union busting, or you're for union busting. I'm not saying you're anti-union. I'm just saying that it seems like to me, as a former CEO, not nearly at the success that you were at, sir, and I'm not trying to defend your company because, quite frankly, politically, we're on totally different ends of the spectrum. And so the irony of this hearing is actually kind of funny. And I do want to point out some hypocrisy about this hearing with the chairman and it's not trying to get personal, all this information is going to be very public, but the fact that you can't defend your company because you want to have a good relationship with your employees and you believe in employee value, which we all do. Any CEO knows that the success of our companies are based on our employees. We get that. But it seems like unions today, all they want to do is fight with their employees or their employer, the same employer that is hiring those team members, and that friction causes a very volatile and tough workplace. And if the company and the employees aren't in the same boat, rowing in the same direction, then they can't. Neither one can be successful. And unions themselves, if you're part of a union, you can never be an executive, you can never be a manager, and never be a CEO. And if you can't be an executive or a manager or the CEO, then how are you actually going to implement the changes that the unions want in those positions to begin with? And it seems like they actually hold back their team members. Mm-hmm. But I take offense to the chairman pointing out that all CEOs are corrupt because they're millionaires. You know, if you make a lot of money, you're corrupt. It's bothering to me because, Mr. Chairman, you yourself have been very successful. Rightfully so. Glad you have been. You've been in office for 28 years, and you and your wife have immersed a wealth of over $8 million. And in fact, your quote on being wealthy and being a millionaire was, well, if you write a bestseller, you can be a millionaire too. If you can be a millionaire, why can't Mr. Schultz and other CEOs be millionaires and be honest too? If that's the case, then why is it that Mr. Schultz, who actually creates jobs and a bestseller of a book, isn't creating any jobs? Why is it that he's corrupt and you're not? Why is it that all CEOs are corrupt because they're wealthy, and yet our chairman, who is wealthy, and I'm glad you are, you're not? Guys, the government's role is to create an environment for entrepreneurs, for go-getters, for world changers, to be successful in life. The U.S. government is designed for people that want to succeed can. We can go out and achieve anything that we choose to. But when you lean towards socialism, what you think is government is the answer and unions are the choice. And if you're against us, then you're dead wrong and you must be corrupt. That's not the world we're living in. That's not the America that we believe in. And I'm not against unions. If you want to choose to be in a union, be in a union. But if you choose not to, then you choose not to. And that's why I'm good with right-to-work states. That's honestly why unions actually thrive in Oklahoma, and we're right-to-work states, because it creates a happy environment and a good environment, because employees get to choose what they want to be part of. And the employer can have a say in it. What is wrong with choice? What is wrong with employees having a choice? What is wrong with the CEO defending his company and openly saying that he is providing good benefits and paying higher than everybody else? But yet, if you're not part of a union, you're also paying starvation wages. What hypocrisy? What bias? Chairman, you are chair of the Health, Education, Labor, and Pension Committee. We shouldn't have a biased approach. We should have what's best for America and all those that want to thrive and work in it. And so while we politically disagree, Mr. Schultz, I applaud you for your success. And I applaud all the CEOs out there for their success. And all the employees that work hard, that's in the same boat, that's making their companies great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, let me respond. The senator did mention my name, I think. And I think you got an all-time record here. You've made more misstatements in a shorter period of time than I have ever heard.
Please correct
me. Well, if I'm worth $8 million, excuse me.
It's all public.
Excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right? Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
If I'm worth $8 million, that's good news to me. I'm not aware of it. That's a lie. All right? Number two.
Part of public records.
You're probably looking at some phony right-wing internet stuff. It ain't true.
No.
All right? You should read beyond that. It is not true.
It's part of public records.
No, it is not public record.
Okay. Well, you made
It is not
$1.7 million on your book.
public record.
You made
All right? It is-
$1.7 on your book.
Excuse me. I've got the mic now. Number
Did you not
two,
make the statement
I
that if
have
you want to
the
be a
mic
billionaire?
now. I've got it.
Did you
had
not
your
make
time.
that statement?
You had your time.
Okay.
All right? You're not telling the truth. Second of all, you got no evidence that I have ever said that all CEOs are corrupt. I have never, ever said that.
Probably not all, but every time you talk
probably
about
not,
CEOs,
then
you do
shouldn't
say that.
Say it. Furthermore, what this hearing is about is whether or not you talk about being pro-union. Really, what this hearing is about is whether workers have the constitutional right to form a union. The evidence is overwhelming, not from me, but from the National Labor Relations Board, is that time after time after time, despite what Mr. Schultz is saying, Starbucks has broken the law and has prevented workers from joining unions to collectively bargain for decent wages and benefits. Senator Baldwin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Schultz, I want to begin by acknowledging the leadership role your company has played in providing benefits to workers. You talked about it in your testimony with great pride, comprehensive health benefits to full and part-time employees starting in 1988, and stock awards to all employees since 1991. You noted, I think, that these benefits allow you to attract and retain a workforce that you call the secret sauce of the Starbucks success. Given this history, though, it is all the more puzzling to me that you're fighting this union drive so fiercely. You've said that a union will sever the direct relationship you have with employees, which you call crucial to anticipating their needs. Instead of leaving it up to your anticipation, a union can ensure that you receive clear feedback about what your workers actually need, free from fear of retaliation. While you call them partners, your workers are limited in their ability to engage with you directly because there's a power differential, and you have power over them and the benefits that they cherish. A power you have shown your willingness to wield, involving employees attempting to organize. I find it particularly ironic, especially given your own powerful story, that you don't see this power dynamic. Further, I think this number is right for your U.S. employee base, but you employ over 235,000 people, in over 3,000 in my home state of Wisconsin alone. You can't possibly have a direct relationship with all of them. Some intermediary is necessary. If you truly want a direct relationship with your workforce, I would suggest to you that a union can provide that. I also want to note in your written testimony that you returned to Starbucks in April of last year and noted that the company had gone astray, had lost its way on many levels. You talked about short-termism, an issue on which I agree profoundly. And who were these partners to turn to with this direct relationship during this time that the company had gone astray? In Wisconsin, when I met with Starbucks union organizers, it was immediately clear to me that they take significant pride in their work. You talked a little back and forth about the quote of hating Starbucks so much, why don't you quit or get a job somewhere else? These workers don't want to quit. They want to work. In fact, they seem to share so many of the same goals for the company that you've laid out so eloquently in your testimony. All of these workers are asking is that you respect their right to organize, which would require you to treat them not just as partners, but as equals. It's that power dynamic that I was talking about. So on that note, Mr. Schultz, it has been almost 1 year since the first Wisconsin store voted to unionize. I want to ask you on the record when Starbucks will begin bargaining in earnest with those workers, and when can I expect that I'll hear that the first contract has been signed?
I'd love to answer your question. I wonder if I can have more time to respond to some of the things you've said. But we are prepared in the state of Wisconsin and other states that we have partners who want to join a union to meet face-to-face, as we've stated consistently, and begin a bargaining process. And we're prepared to do that in Wisconsin. Mr. Chairman, I wonder if I could just speak to a few things that the Senator had mentioned.
You have about 50 seconds.
Okay. Starbucks has had almost 5 million people wear the green apron. 5 million. So we've created close to 5 million jobs. 5 million jobs. Just think about how many families have benefited from Starbucks. The majority of those partners have participated in an equity plan unprecedented in American business. 14% of their base pay is how we started. In addition to that, 99% of the 350,000 who work for Starbucks want a direct relationship with the company. In addition to that, what's the most important metric of any business? And that is trust with your people. And as a result of that,
I'm sorry.
we have the highest level of retention of any company in our sector. That's hundreds of companies. The highest level of retention.
Mr. Schultz, there are time limits here. Senator Cassidy.
I defer to Senator Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Ranking Member. I think this is an interesting discussion because I recently come from the world of building a business over 37 years, and I've been clear when it comes to unions, they are so important in today's world, vis-a-vis large public companies, multinationals. How would you have any countervailing clout unless you didn't have an effective union? I think this is interesting because the restaurant business, I think currently has maybe 3 to 4% of it unionized. And one of the reasons, since I had a small business for 17 years, 15 employees, before it grew. And the best avoidance of a union is to treat your employees like family, pay good wages, have good benefits. You do that, you're probably never going to have a union knocking at your door. But we're talking about an industry here that through COVID went through one of the most traumatic events any small enterprise or business has gone through. This is not a small enterprise or business, but it's in a business. It's got a high fatality rate due to the nature of it. I don't know currently what you're paying your average employee on the line. That's going to be the first question, and then what the average pay of senior, middle management, senior management would be. I always thought it was good, as long as you're earning equity in whatever you're doing, that you probably be reasonable there. Don't pull in with a Maserati and all of that. I'd love to know where you're at on that wage stratification first.
Thank you, Senator. The average wage is $17.50. That's higher than the minimum wage of every state in America. With benefits, and the majority of our people take the benefits, that's at $27 an hour. 65% of our managers across the country were baristas, and all in, the manager's salary is about $80,000.
Very good. And then do you have a stratum of management above that?
There's a district manager, regional manager, and I think what we're most proud of is that the majority of people who are managing stores, managing districts, managing regions, started out in our stores. We have hundreds, maybe thousands, of beautiful stories that our partners have shared with us about what Starbucks has done for them and their families as a result of the benefits that we created. And those benefits were not created because there was a union. Those were created because of the decisions.
And I think that's important to note. But I think what you represent here is a watershed case because you're large. You generally get large because you're successful along the way. And we've got to be careful because I'm going to pivot to something the other side of the aisle has proposed, is like the PRO Act. And again, I'm probably the most outspoken Republican on the benefit of unions. But you got to be careful where they go. If they're going into the gig economy, into the independent contractors, which is the next chapter on some of this, that will stifle entrepreneurialism. When you look at, if you are large, you shouldn't necessarily be held to account unless there are things that you're doing to impede the law in terms of unionizing. You've already made that point that you don't think you've been doing it. All I'm saying, this is important because this will have a ripple effect way beyond your business. And the one thing we can't have is to suffocate what's made this country great, and that is that you do not necessarily have to wrestle with a union if you do all the things that are good for your employees to begin with. Can you honestly say that you've done that throughout the history of your company, and that I know you have mobility? It sounds like several different ways you can grow. You have no mobility unless you're growing as a company, but have you honestly done that?
Yes, we have, sir, and I wonder if I could just give you one prime example that I think the committee should understand. You know, during COVID, as you said, the restaurant industry was really plummeted. I mean, we had it very, very tough. We had thousands of Starbucks stores closed. Many of our peers started cutting benefits during COVID. Starbucks did not cut one benefit during COVID, and we paid every single partner during COVID with no exception.
What was your average wage before COVID? Because you said you're at about $17 now starting. Did you have to raise it over the last couple of years?
We raised wages in May. That's correct.
And what was it before?
About $15 an hour. We went to $17.
And one final point. Even $17 an hour, that's not a living wage in this day and age. I'm proud that in our company, we pay the highest starting wage in a low unemployment county. And any large corporation shouldn't necessarily be bragging about $15 to $20 wages. When you look at the typical structure of a large company, that should probably be $20 plus, like many Main Street businesses pay. And I think if companies like yours and the larger companies don't do it, you're going to be constantly, grappling with maybe here. But on the other hand, unions shouldn't be trying to get involved in companies that are doing a good job, especially Main Street and smaller ones. I wish we had more time.
Thank you.
We'll leave it at that.
Thank you, sir.
Senator Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, or good morning, I think it is still. Mr. Schultz, you repeatedly call your employees partners. Do you value your employees or your partners that want to join a union or have joined a union? Do you value them as much as you value those that have not yet joined a union?
We have respect for every single partner who wears a green apron, regardless of their choice to go for a union.
So yesterday, I had the opportunity to meet with some unionized Starbucks workers from Minnesota, Gracie and Elizabeth, and they tell me that Starbucks is cutting their weekly hours. They estimate that they're losing $4 an hour in wages because the company won't allow them in unionized stores to access credit card tipping when that's available to workers in non-unionized shops. And they tell me that they are simultaneously understaffed in their stores and unable to get enough hours to pay their bills. If these folks are your partners, why are you treating them differently than the non-unionized workers?
When we raised wages in May, my understanding was that under the law, we did not have the unilateral right to provide those benefits to partners who were involved in collective bargaining. And that is why.
So you have said that several times during this meeting. You've said that you cannot legally provide these benefits without bargaining over them, but you know, I'm sure, that the union has specifically stated in this letter July 15th, 2022, that they waived any objection to bargaining on this. It says in the letter, to this end, the union hereby waives any objection that we might have to Starbucks providing union-represented employees with any wage or benefit improvements provided to unrepresented employees. So I don't think this, I just think you're wrong.
Oh, let me try and explain. There are an array of wages and benefits that need to be negotiated in the collective bargaining process. It would not be proper to take one piece of the puzzle out of the negotiating process, since the people who have joined the union have decided that they want to negotiate a contract. It is our preference and our right to negotiate that contract fairly and objectively, but not in piecemeal.
Yep. So I think that the way the law reads is that there is an exception to that requirement to negotiate when the employees make a clear and unmistakable waiver to bargaining. But let me ask you about this, because the first Minnesota store union was certified over 320 days ago, and no meaningful bargaining has happened since then, though there have been some meetings. Do you know how long those meetings have been in Minnesota?
I'm not involved in any of the meetings.
So the Minnesota folks tell me that those negotiation sessions have not lasted longer than 6 minutes. So that seems to me, sir, as a failure to negotiate in good faith.
From my understanding, in many of the meetings that we've showed up to have face-to-face meetings, the other side has decided to put on a Zoom or a Teams, and then we decide, and we've told them up front, that we will not negotiate unless the meeting is in person and we know who's in the room. And so we have left those meetings as a result of the fact that we could not preserve the privacy and the integrity of a face-to-face meeting.
So my observation here is that this feels like sort of a catch-22, because you are not willing to bargain on issues like credit card tipping, while we are simultaneously, you're not coming together to bargain at all. And so I think that that is why the employees are feeling, who are wanting to be in a union, that feel so frustrated. But I want to just touch on one other thing. I've been listening really closely to you today, and I also come from the private sector, had my own company at one time before I moved into the public sector, and I've been really struck by your focus on what an excellent company you are. And honestly, it sounds as if you are personally offended or even insulted that anyone would question you or your company. And it seems as if you feel that only bad companies should be unionized, that there's something nefarious about a company that is done something bad and therefore they need to be unionized, and that Starbucks doesn't need a union because you are a good company. But I think, Mr. Schultz, that is not your decision to make. And I believe that there is an inherent value in coming together to organize that would address this imbalance of power that I think the many, many Starbucks
Senator,
partners sitting behind you and in Minnesota feel. I mean, you're a billionaire, and they are your employees. The imbalance of power is extreme, and that is why people want to come together to form a union.
Senator, I agree with you that I do not have who can vote for a union or not. But I am the chairman, I am the CEO of the company, I was the CEO of the company, and I have the preference and the right to communicate to our people about what it is we believe is right for Starbucks. And I want to repeat, 99% of the 250,000 want a direct relationship with the company. And the last thing you said, and it's been said many times by the chairman, I just want to make a point of that. This moniker billionaire, let's just get at that, okay? I grew up in federally subsidized housing. Let me finish. I grew up in federally subsidized housing. My parents never owned a home. I came from nothing. I thought my entire life was based on the achievement of the American dream. Yes, I have billions of dollars. I earned it. No one gave it to me. And I've shared it constantly with the people of Starbucks. And so anyone who keeps labeling this billionaire thing, it's
Mr. Schultz, I don't mean to cut you off. We have time limits here, and you have
well,
the opportunity. I'm not cutting you off.
It's your moniker constantly. It's unfair.
No, it is not. You have had more time. I've been generous with the time. I'm sorry.
But, Mr. Chairman.
We have a room full of people. We have panel to go after you. You're not the only person testifying.
Okay.
Senator Cassidy.
Defer to Senator Marshall.
Thank you, Ranking Member. Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Schultz, I'm going to change the subject a little bit. Last year, your company decided to close 16 stores across the nation, including the Starbucks down the street here at Union Station, due to rising crime in these cities. Shortly thereafter, you stated that there are going to be many more closures for similar concerns. Your store managers are quoted saying that their employees have not felt safe amid a spike in crime, a surge of assaults, thefts, and drug use. I agree, in fact. In fact, I fear for my own staff walking home in this neighborhood. I feared so much that I purchased each one of them one of these noisemakers this past Christmas. One of our colleagues' office staff was recently violently assaulted as well. The lawlessness in this country is out of control. When you decided to close those 16 stores because you feared for your employees' safety, did you then, and do you still believe that the White House needs to focus on restoring law and order and relaying a message to this country of respect for the brave men and women in law enforcement in this country?
Thank you, Senator. We do, in fact, have a significant issue of safety in urban cities around America. And Starbucks has closed many, many stores that were profitable as a result of the fact that our own people do not feel safe working in the stores. And we have a situation of homelessness, drugs, mental illness, and as a result of that, many of the societal issues that we're facing today are difficult for Starbucks to address because we don't have the power or the responsibility to address these things as you've described.
You know, thank you for the for your answer and your honesty. It's a sad day for this nation when the crime is so bad that you feel the need to close profitable shops because you can't keep your employees safe at their place of work. And I have to note for the record that every single location you closed, all 16 of them, were in Democrat-ran cities. We have another saying. I want to change the subject here again. We have a saying back home that pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. You do have 645 unfair labor cases brought against you. Based upon the size of the crowd, there may be some smoke and fire together there. You know, this is your chance. Tell me your side of the story. Tell me why you have so many complaints. Do you feel like that there's been a fair negotiation process? Have you and your company been open to a negotiation process? So this is, give you a minute here, a minute and a half, just to tell me your side of the story.
Thank you. First off, with regard to the NLRB, Senator Cassidy mentioned a number of issues. Starbucks Coffee Company will abide by the law and follow the process. I hope the committee does investigate many of the things that are going on within the NLRB and the courage of the whistleblower to come forward with regard to the allegations that she has, that she wants to discuss with the committee. This process, unfortunately, has played out publicly in many different ways. And unfortunately, a public company in America today is unfortunately guilty before before anything.
So this is your chance.
Yeah.
So why are you innocent?
Yeah, we're innocent because we've done everything that we possibly can to respect the right under the law of our partner's ability to join a union. But conversely, we have consistently laid out our preference without breaking any law of communicating to our people about what we believe is a vision for the company. And when I went to Buffalo, even though it was cited before by Senator Casey, I never mentioned the word union once. I talked about the vision for Starbucks. And the reason is, post-COVID, 95% of the people wearing the green apron had worked for the company less than a year. They didn't know anything about Starbucks. So I went to Buffalo to share the story of Starbucks, what we have done as a company, equity in the form of stock options, comprehensive health insurance, all the things that we've done to provide opportunity for our people. I didn't go there to talk about the union. I went there to lay out our vision for the company. And I consistently have done that, as well as the leaders of Starbucks. We have not broken the law. We have simply tried to defend ourselves and tell our employees, all of them, what we stand for, our future, the aspirations we have, the growth of the company, and the opportunity. Starbucks is, in many ways, the quintessential entrepreneurial company of the last 30 years. We've created 5 million jobs from a cup of coffee, and we've shared the profits with our people. And we've done all these things not because of the union, but because of the compassion, the empathy, and in many ways, my own story of understanding what happened to my father and trying to build the kind of company that my father never got a chance to work for. And that is the story of Starbucks.
Senator Murphy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. You know, collective bargaining is a fundamentally conservative idea. Right? We've sort of lost track of that. I mean, it's rooted in free market principles, right? The idea that workers should be able to freely join together to negotiate in a free, open negotiation with their employer. And so it's kind of disappointing and sad and wild to me at how sort of partisan this debate has become. Democrats standing up for unions, Republicans saying they support collective bargaining, but not seeing that there's real genius in the idea in a free market society that workers get to come together. You know, it's funny, previous Republican candidates, you know, they really fought hard to work to win the union vote, to speak at union conventions. This sort of new dichotomy we have is, in fact, new. Mr. Schultz, what do you mean when you say that you abide by the law? So I guess when I do a search online to take a look at cases that have been brought against Starbucks for illegal firings, as you know, New York, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Kansas, Missouri, Washington, a decision out of Buffalo requiring you to reinstate workers, calling your practice egregious and calling your practices egregious and widespread in misconduct. You say you follow the law, but then, of course, this committee sees repeated evidence of NLRB orders forcing you to reverse actions that were on their face a violation of the law. So when you say you don't break the law, you abide by the law, you mean you disagree with all of these decisions from the NLRB? You think they got it wrong in all of those cases?
I think what you're talking about is allegations that we look forward to in the process to defend ourselves. But if I can give you one specific case,
but some of these are orders from NLRB judges to reinstate employees based upon violations of conduct. Do you think in all of those cases in which judges have required stores to be reopened or for workers to be reinstated, that they just all got it wrong?
Well, in Memphis as an
in every case.
So in Memphis as an example, we do have.
Well, I'm not actually looking for. I'm not.
I think
I'm not looking to litigate each specific case. Just to clarify, when you say that you are abiding by the law, you mean that in every case in which an NLRB judge has ordered you to take steps to remediate actions, in every single case they've gotten it wrong by the underlying law, i.e. illegal.